Alright, let's go. Driftvale City, 5 badges down. A lot of the Unova region to explore at this point. Although we are in the middle of the game pretty solidly, so we'll see whether that thing I said about the Pokemon feeling kind of samey holds up, or whether I have no idea what I'm talking about. I really think it might be the latter, or I just picked the worst time to say it. I think they don't actually think they do pretty well for only having a little over 150 Pokemon in this region at distributing them. I guess it's just ever since Gen 2 brought the number to 251. Approximately 150. I know Gen 5 is a little more than that, but approximately that many. Just doesn't feel like it did back in Gen 1. Doesn't feel like so many anymore. You get what I'm saying, I'm sure. We've got Toronto the Servine. Charlottetown the Krokorok. This is still helpful to me, even though I know you're just looking at their stats right now. Steinbach the Ducklet. Churchill the Vanillite. Beck the Zebstrika, and Moncton the Archon. And I was thinking about what Pokemon I want to train going into the next gym. What items do these have, actually? They all pretty much have items. Miracle Seed, Amulet Coin, Eviolite, Experience Share, Shell Bell. What was I thinking? I was thinking I might want to give somebody else the Experience Share, but I can't remember why. Oh, I know why. So I can lead with Moncton. I don't want to give Moncton an item because of acrobatics. Let me go to the Pokemon Center first, actually, and then I'll figure this out. Yeah, I think training my Rock type ahead of the Flying Gym makes sense, along with training my Electric type and maybe my Ice type, but I think that Ice type might not be long for the team. In fact, there are some opportunities to catch some cool Pokemon in this very episode. So we'll see if we get any new teammates. Enjoy this music. I was going to say one more time, but we'll go into the Pokemon Center and then come back out. And who knows, there might be some backtracking with the route ahead. I mean, I'll get an encounter at least on that route. And an encounter in Chargestone Cave. The next city after that. Alright, where do I want to put the Experience Share? What I'm thinking is maybe lead Archon, put Experience Share on Zebstrika, ignore Vanillite for now. I feel a little bit iffy about that, but I think we can afford to get Quebec a little bit more experience. For now. Yeah. So we start getting Pokemon to like level 30 and then think about it again. Bianca's here. I didn't remember that was coming. Oh, hi, Black. Hey, were you at the gym just now? Oh, hey, that's Driftvale's gym badge. Oh, that's totally cool. That's amazing. No. I can't get distracted being all impressed with your shiny new badge. I am also a trainer. At times like this, you battle, right? Alright, let's see how Bianca's been doing with her training. Last time we saw her, she was getting more serious about it. But she wants to continue her adventure, despite her dad's worries. Go through her personal growth, have fun along the way, but she does know that there's danger out there. She experienced it back in Castelia City. Lose with Herdier, has Intimidate, so I will go ahead and switch to my Intimidate user, why not? Everybody clicks Dark-type attacks into Krokorok. This time, of course, you couldn't know. I'll just crunch right back. That does good damage. Don't need the defense drop. He's going for workup, I guess, to make that crunch hit harder, because none of these NPCs ever seem to learn. A Pokemon could take that, I'm sure. Well, probably. Bianca's too honest to just boast in battle. Here's a Duat. Let's have a nice little starter versus starter matchup here. I go to Quebec, actually. Let's go to Quebec, if I want to train Quebec. That Razor Shell did some damage. I also don't have the Shell Bell on Quebec anymore because I have the Experience Share instead. Spark is looking like a 2-shot. I like Zebstrika glowing yellow in its animation. Makes decent use of these being fully animated sprites for the first time in Generation 5. The first generation where there's more than just maybe a little opening animation when they switch in. Here's her pants here. We'll go back to Charlottetown, I think. We'll go back to Moncton. I want to train Moncton too. And then I think she'll have Muna after this. I can probably just Moncton through that. We'll see. Rock Tomb one-shots, nice. I wonder what level Arkin evolves. It's probably around 40, although this is Gen... Oh, Sharna, it grew up. This is Gen 5, so it might be later than 40. Who's to say? But I think it's a ways off. I would like to get an Archeops, but maybe I shouldn't get too impatient. Anyway, she's going for Lucky Chant. She's going to avoid any crits. But Crunch should do plenty of damage. I don't know that it'll one-shot, but probably 2. Yeah, 2. Get a defense drop too. No need for it. Dodge a Hypnosis. Charlottetown is so good. Charlottetown might be my best Pokemon so far. I don't think with the defense drop, I don't think that Hyper Potion is even going to help. I don't think she's getting through this turn. This Krokorok is just so strong. MVP right now, I think. We'll see if that holds up. 28. Like I said, I'll think again about the experience share around 30 or so, I think. I haven't had a Pokemon battle with you in a while, Black. You've become totally strong, huh? I'm not that strong, so I don't know how to say it, but I think you're way tuned into how your Pokemon feel. Oh, you know what? I want to share this HM with you, Black. Ah, that's where you get Fly. Okay. Now I know. My papa gave it to me after he tried to take me home that time. I couldn't remember where to get Fly in this game. I'm sure it's so I can come home anytime he wants, though. Oh, hey, I have to share this with Charon, too. See you, Black. Bye-bye. So wait, okay, hold on. Okay, first of all, it's kind of a nice touch that she got the Fly HM from her dad. Fly is, of course, the HM that gives you the most free rapid movement all over the region. So you can look at it and say, oh, he wants her to be able to go home anytime, and I'm sure that's true. But Fly also opens up a lot of adventures for her, right, all over the region, while also enabling her to come home. It's a real sign that the bridge within that family has been mended, so to speak. What I'm curious about is... Okay, she has the HM, she used it, she gave it to me. She also talked about sharing it with Charon. How many HMs did he give her? Sounds like at least 2. Maybe Bianca's father is still a little bit overdramatic. Because an HM is a physical item, right? It's a disc. She gave it to me. How does she also give it to Charon? Unless she has more than one. But why would you ever need more than one? Also, HMs are... It's a little bit unclear how rare they are in-game. But... especially at Gen 7, where those hidden maidens give you TMs for Surf and Dive, I think. And they say, hey... Or maybe it's Surf and Waterfall. They say, hey, these are HMs where we're from. It's just like a cultural difference, what they're called. But I think most Pokemon games, at least up to that point, imply that HMs are not exactly super common to come by. I mean, they are given out as gifts by, like, Wally's dad and stuff. But, you're not going to find them in a shop just anywhere. But Bianca's dad is apparently just giving them out like candy to Bianca. Anyway, let's get an encounter. This is Route 6, I think. I wasn't looking at the screen. You probably have seen what route it is. I think it's 6. Parablast? I don't think there's much chance that I ever train that, but I might as well try to catch it. We'll go for the Leech Seed strat. This is one reason I like grass-type starters. Not all of them, but a lot of them get Leech Seed. It's very useful for catching things, although... hopefully this Carablast doesn't spam that Fury Cutter, or it's going to power up and be a problem. Can't remember whether I said this yet. I might have gotten derailed by Bianca. It did cross my mind while I was battling her that I'm about to go to Chargestone Cave, and it has electric types that are stronger later in the game than Zebstrika, so I'm not actually sure that Quebec will necessarily stay on the team very long. If I get a Joltik, I'll probably swap that in. If I get a Tynamo, I might think about it. I don't remember where to get a Thunderstone in this game, but it's worth considering, I think. But we'll see what the encounter is. Tynamo is, I think, the rarest encounter in there, and the most common is probably like Boldore. Or maybe I get a Klink or a Ferroseed, who knows. Clamping Pokemon, did not remember that. These mysterious Pokemon evolve when they receive electrical stimulation while they are placed in the same place as, well, they are in the same place as Shelmet. Yeah, so like I said earlier, there's that NPC, I think it was last time that NPC asked, how do traded Pokemon evolve? And it's kept kind of mysterious, but electrical stimulation is kind of what the series has settled on. And then, of course, Carablast and Shelmet have that specific interaction where they're specifically traded for each other, which is kind of a cool take on trade evolution. I don't think there have been any others like it. But I honestly consider these kind of unremarkable Pokemon otherwise. They're not really super memorable to me, but the way they evolve is pretty cool. Anyway, we're just going to toss Regina into the PC. Probably never train her, because I have no way to evolve her. So it goes sometimes. Let's use a Repel. Did I figure out how to move these in the bag? Ah, I did. Nice. I thought I'd look that up at some point, off recording. I have Repels, and I know I have a lot of Super Repels. Let's see where those are. There they are. We'll use the regular Repels first, because why not? And there'll be some trainers along here. I'm pretty sure that spot in the trees, right, just to the right of my character, just at the top of the screen, is a hidden grotto in Black 2 and White 2, but none of those in Black and White either. A lot of things actually only came up in Black and White 2. I'm gonna have to go back into the bag to use the next Repel after this one. Anyway. You are an interesting case. Please help me with my experiment. Oh, okay. I hope it's ethical. A Deerling? Yeah, this area, Deerling is definitely one of the possible encounters here, and there's some kind of... This might also only be in Black 2 and White 2. I think it probably exists in this game. But there's gonna be, like a little weather institute. Not the Weather Institute in Hoenn, but a little weather research station where they research Deerling because of its seasonal appearance change. This is kind of a Deerling flavored route. I think you can get a gift hidden ability Deerling there in Black 2 and White 2, but again, not in Black and White. This guy said something about the difficulty of getting results with his method. When the wind blows, seeds fly. When seeds fly, flowers bloom. When the flowers bloom, we'll get seeds. Everything is connected. Okay, I'm sure he didn't say that in such a monotonous way. That's my bad. Pokemon with dry skin love water-type moves in rainy weather. I'm talking about the ability of these Pokemon, of course. Of course, not just your skin being dry. Good. Don't worry, I understood. We are totally in sync. Using our amazing connection, I will teach you all about Rangers. Okay. Sure. And Molga? I could stay in Rock Tomb, but I can also switch to my ground type in Rock Tomb. That's safer. I just don't want to have to run back to the Pokemon Center. I think there's a house at the end of this route where I can heal, but of course I'm not at the end yet. It just goes for double team. Now I have to actually land my Rock Tombs. Going for that instead of Crunch, not only because it's super effective, but because Umolga could have Static. I don't really want to deal with that either. But we do have to land our Rock Tombs now into +2 evasiveness and counting. Good start. One more. Might be faster now? Yep. Perfect. Yeah, Charlottetown just doesn't miss. Star of the team right now. We'll see how that holds up. I didn't actually check on the mic before I started recording. Okay, good. The mic is working. Can get a little bit finicky. Deerling don't usually have Grass. Actually, it might have Energy Ball. It might not have a Grass type attack. Jump Kick. They do tend to have that. That did some damage, but not enough. GG. In fact, we learned all about you. Okay. Do you know much about this berry? She gives me a cherry berry. Yeah, I'm familiar with that one. Would have been useful if your Emolga had paralyzed my Crocorock, but I didn't know you were about to give me a free one. Listen carefully. You may hear the sound of breathing Pokemon and plants. Alright folks, let's listen. Hear anything? I think the music is drowning it out. Not quite getting the tranquility that she's talking about here, I think. Pouring rain, fighting Pokemon. Very whimsical parasol ladies along this route. Or, I don't think the other one was a parasol lady. Some whimsical people, I don't know. There's a Timpole. I'll go Toronto because Quebec is at low HP. Quebec can just passively take advantage of the experience share still. Not really getting any experience for Churchill so far, but that's kind of intentional because I'm not sure Churchill will be sticking around long. We'll see. I mean, if I catch something at the Celestial Tower, it'll either be a Litwick or an LGM, and either way, I think I'd rather train one of those. I could fail the encounter. There are also other encounters before then. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, this is a pretty easy sweep. She has 4 Pokemon. Is the last one also a Tympole? Maybe this kind of thing is where it starts to feel samey, although this is very typical of the early Pokemon generations. It's at least there's not a 6 Magikarp guy. I think there actually might be in the post-game, but since there's no Magikarp in main story, Black and White, at least there's no 6 Magikarp guy here. I hear the sad melody of total defeat. Rain is a wonderful melody that nature plays. I'm sure it's not supposed to sound like that at all. I butchered it. No doubt. I will research and investigate your Pokemon. Here I think is that weather station I was talking about. And here's a scientist. So we got scientists, we got just kind of whimsical people out having an adventure, we've got a ranger, there might be another ranger. The scientists are all training deerling because they study deerling in this area. There's a lot of little flavor to this route. It's kind of nice. It's not one of the most memorable to me, but I like it. Black and White 2, it has one of those trainers who battle you every time you go by, which is a blessing and a curse. Anyway, this guy wants to analyze his defeat. Why don't you go discover something else? This guy's had enough of me. Can we blame him? I don't know, you tell me. Are you a trainer? Yep, I will unlock the mechanism and find the secret of your power. Do you have a deerling? And are you gonna get mad at me when I one-shot it with acrobatics? So far we are still in that profile. X speed. Ooh. Ironically, not fast enough. Too slow to help in this battle. Level 29. Nice. I was so preoccupied with the mechanism I forgot to concentrate on the battle. Yeah, you don't say. The mechanism of rain and the science of changing seasons. Nature is full of wonders. Let's go in here before we get. Let's go in here. I mean, before we get this item, because I don't have a repel active right now. Researching the year's seasons. The season research lab. Okay, I said weather. They're more explicitly about the seasons, but that makes sense because everybody's studying deerling out here. Like I said, I knew that. Some Pokemon change their appearance depending on the season. Deerling. Could that also be considered a type of evolution? Interesting question. Interesting question. It's not, you know, conventional Pokemon evolution where it becomes a different species. It's the same species and it goes through this cycle of forms. This guy's thinking. The temperature and humidity inside the case next to me are controlled by a machine. This is the season research lab. Twist Mountain, just beyond Mistralton, has snow depending on the season. Yeah, it's summer right now. Twist Mountain should be next episode, right? Probably not going to have snow when we get there in this playthrough. Maybe I'll get a chance to go back. It'll still be take a while to finish recording this, but we'll see how it goes. We research changes in nature that are occurring during the seasons. Consider the Pokemon called Deerling, which lives in this forest. Its appearance is said to change according to the season. This characteristic is of great interest to us. We want to research this Pokemon and observe its seasonal changes. That's why we developed a marvelous climate-controlled system that transcends the seasons and allows us to freely adjust temperature and humidity. Up to this point, everything has been fine, but we are very busy, and we haven't really had a chance to catch many Deerling to study. Really? All the scientists outside have Deerling? This is what we would like to ask you. First, please capture a Deerling, then when its appearance changes, could you bring it back to the lab? Then when we've confirmed the change to the Deerling you bring us, we will also go search for that season's Deerling. How about it? If you don't mind, would you please show us what Deerling looks like now? Should I catch a Deerling? I think this is the only area where I can, so I'd have to separate it from the Nuzlocke catching rules. I'm going to say it would be ineligible to be trained, but should I catch a Deerling and show it to this guy? I think I'm down. And you can see they're definitely researching Deerling over here. Deerling's nice. I like Deerling and Sawsbuck. I like their season-changing form. I like their designs overall. They're neat Pokemon. It's kind of too bad that seasons are really only a thing in this generation, and so Deerling and Sawsbuck don't have much to draw attention to them in other generations. Stumbled into an Audino. Let's battle it for the experience. Audino is, of course, the best way to grind against wild Pokemon in Black and White because it gives a ton of experience when you knock it out. And it's usually not too hard to beat because it uses moves like that a lot of the time. It's actually beneficial to take away Harkin's ability. So yeah, this wild battle that I genuinely just happened to stumble into is, I think, pretty worthwhile. Look at all that experience. Yeah, I'm not using Repel because I actually am down to catch a Deerling and show it to that guy. See what happens. This isn't a Deerling. They're not a great start. Of course, this is also the route where you can find Fungus. Well, the first route, there are others, where you can find Fungus disguising themselves as Pokeballs, just like Voltorb did in the Japan-based regions of the earlier generations. So at least one of these balls is a Fungus. Water fun with Pokemon. Do you want to play with us? I have no memory of which, though. So I'm going to be fooled by the Fungus, because I know they were there, but I don't remember exactly where they are. Now we're back to the whimsical Parasol Lady flavor of this route. I guess part of the vibe of this route is, you know, it gets rainy, it gets sunny, implicitly. We don't really see that. We don't really see overworld strong sunlight in this game. There's some shifts in the weather. It's probably nicely affected by shifts in the seasons. This is the place to study Deerling. Pokemon that ties very nicely into a little bit of... This might be the first Frillish of the playthrough, I'm not sure. Bit of creative region design that's not really ever touched on in the rest of the series. Uh-oh, I was lost, but it was fun, so I'm satisfied. Yeah, this Arcan is so strong. Acrobatics is, what, 110 base power without an item? That's before Stab. Arcan is getting really strong already, even though I think it's not close to evolving. Aquatic sports with Pokemon. Nothing is more fun than that. It's 100% impossible to live without Pokemon. Once again, you start to wonder how Team Plasma really has any pull with anyone. Kind of feels like they're... I'll put it this way, it kind of feels like they're probably at about the limit of their PR already. Although, of course, we'll find out that they want to use the legendary Pokemon to basically shock and awe, amaze and intimidate the people into accepting their demands. Yeah, hard to believe they could grow much more without it when all the people we run into, most of the people we run into aren't Team Plasma members already, say things like this. It's very on the nose. This one's a Fungus. You can tell because it hopped up and down and I didn't get an item and instead I was launched into a battle. This little mushroom has no idea what a VGC menace it's going to be for a very long time. There's a leaf stone, okay. I think the other one is also a Fungus, but I don't remember for sure, so I'll check. It is. Like I said, there will be some others on other routes, and eventually there will be evolved Amoonguss as well. It's kind of neat. It's one of the better ways that... What's this guy gonna say? I'll show you how energetic I've become just by being here. Okay. It's one of the better ways that Gen 5 takes inspiration from the earlier gens and kind of rehashes things that they've already done in a different way. It's kind of underwhelming when, like, okay, Pidove is also a common bird that's a normal and flying type. You know, Throw and Sock, I kind of like Throw and Sock, but they're so obviously redoing Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan in a way. It lands a little bit weirdly with me. I like Bouffalant, but I also already liked Tauros. But Fungus and Amoonguss, I think they're a really smart way of doing it, right? Because they take a gimmick from an earlier generation, Voltorb and Electro disguising themselves as item balls, but they do it with a, I was gonna say completely different Pokemon design. Obviously, there are still some similar design elements. Round Pokeball pattern. You can understand how it could be mistaken for a ball out in the world, but it's a very different Pokemon otherwise. I think that was a nice touch. Acrobatics is way stronger than Rock Smash, even though this is a normal type. I think they really nailed it with Fungus and Amoonguss as kind of a riff on what they'd previously done with Voltorb and Electrode. And why is it good that they emulate something they've done before? Not cheap nostalgia bait. That's going to be a big thing in Pokemon games after this one, but oops, I misclicked Mudslap. I don't think Black and White are actually that big on the nostalgia bait stuff. Yeah, I mean, if anything, they're the games that tried hardest to break away from what had come before. But it's because it's world building. They're trying to sell the Pokemon world as this massive, complicated worldwide ecosystem where, realistically, you're going to find different creatures filling similar niches in different parts of the world that are very far apart. I actually really appreciate that part of the approach that they took to Gen 5. I'm not sure it works that well in a video game context because it does kind of end up with a lot of Pokemon designs and concepts that are, I don't know, to me, as someone who had been playing since those early generations already, relatively on the boring side because they're rehashing things that I've seen before. But from a world-building perspective, I think it makes a lot of sense. It's to look at how a similar kind of ecosystem can emerge very far away, largely isolated from the one that we've seen before. So I think those little callbacks can be a nice touch, and I think Fungus and Amoongus are one of the better executions of it. Although some of the sameness is, I think I just said nature when he lost. Some of the sameness is kind of necessary if you are trying to approach things that way. You can question whether it's really worth it in the end. But I respect it. And Fungus is a really nice design regardless. Anyway, if I use this, will my Pokemon also become energetic? Gives me a Cherry Berry. I mean, in some situations they might. When we are surrounded by green, we feel more energetic, don't you think? Thank you, Mother Nature. Well, that explains why he was yelling that. Chargestone Cave seems like a complicated maze, but actually it's a straight road. Oh, that could turn into a meme. Welcome to the world of Pokemon. It's alright though. Chargestone Cave is too cool to complain about. It's about the season to go to the Celestial Tower on Route 7. I have to ring the bell for my Cottonee. Aww. Poor guy. Oh dear, your Pokemon. Somehow they don't seem well. You should rest here for a little while. You can't go anywhere when you're not feeling well. Man, that hits a little bit differently when that other guy just told us that his Pokemon died. Although we don't know under what circumstances or how long ago or any of that. Anyway, team sealed. Let's see what their kid says. Mister, here, have this. Give me a shiny stone. That's awesome. If I had a Minccino, I could evolve it right now. So, wait, let me see if she said anything else. But that's an incredible gift from a young kid. Here, have this rare item that is super useful to training. Know what? When I gave my Minccino a shiny stone, it evolved and became a different Pokemon. Are people out here duplicating items in this region? This young kid had 2 shiny stones. He used one and just gave the other to a stranger because she felt like it. Bianca's father gave her at least 2 HMs, 2 of the same HM. Everybody duplicating items in the Unova region except the player? I don't know. Here on Route 6, there's a place called Mistralton Cave. Supposedly, deep in that cave, you can find an amazing Pokemon called Cobalion, who was said to have protected Pokemon from a sea of fire in ancient Unova. What? I didn't know. Wait. I didn't know the pledge combo had been. Wait. I didn't know they were to pledge combos in ancient Unova. Grass pledge, fire pledge, a sea of fire. I didn't know they'd gone. I didn't know they'd cooked too hard with pledge teams back then. That's some lore. If you can use a move called Surf that lets you move over the water's surface, maybe you can see Cobalion. I can't do that yet. I won't be getting Surf until probably next time. I mean, unless I veer off schedule, definitely next time. Yeah, we will have to come back and check that out. Archstone Cave. I said I wanted to catch a Deerling. I'm going to do this encounter and 2 more, and if I don't find a Deerling, I might lose interest. So that was a Fungus. Yeah, we'll make it 5 encounters, so that encounter and 4 more. Never mind, this is a Deerling. I can't do the Leech Seed strat to a Deerling because it is a grass type. It's immune to Leech Seed. I can Thunder Wave it. Thunder Wave it for sure. Now, will I have to get it out of the PC? I suspect so. That's alright. Thunder Wave, just start throwing balls. I use the Premier Ball first, because I am going outside of the normal rules of this playthrough to catch a Deerling just to show that science guy. So it feels appropriate to use a little bit of a special ball. I don't know if it'll just be caught like this, but we'll give it a go. I know you're supposed to weaken wild Pokemon. Just kind of hoping I can skip that. Alright, well, take down... I should actually switch to Toronto so that it's not getting Leech Seed recovery anymore. Yeah, because it would have taken some... Well, it did take some damage there, but then immediately the damage was undone. Double kick. All these Deerling running around with fighting coverage. Double kick, jump kick. Anyway, that was my only Premier Ball. Great ball worked. You know what? No nickname because it's outside of the normal rules of the playthrough. And now I could just run back. I feel kind of lazy not just running back to Driftvale City. But I have Fly, I might as well use it. I'll teach it to Steinbach because Moncton already... Well, Moncton can't learn it anyway. It makes sense. Archon is flightless. It gains flight when it becomes Archeops. But also it already has a better flying type attack. I'll actually keep... Will I keep Air Slash? Kinda want to keep Air Slash. I can ditch Aqua Ring. I don't think I'm ever using that. That way I still have a one-turn flying type attack available. Alright, let's fly in this game for the first time. Route 6 is described in the town map as a route with many trees for nature lovers. So all the more reason that they study the seasons there, right? We get a mix of whimsical nature lovers, rangers who are energized by being exposed to nature, and scientists studying Deerling. Hamilton is all the way over in the top left. Nice little map. But it's on the bottom screen. We're gonna move on. First time flying in this playthrough. Might as well heal. Might as well grab my Deerling. Go to the season lab, talk to the guy, fly back, get whichever Pokemon I left behind. Simple enough. Let's go. I don't know if I ever did show a Deerling to that guy in a past playthrough. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe nothing interesting. But maybe something interesting. We'll find out. I don't think I have a repel active because I was trying to catch a Deerling. So let's go ahead and move these stones out of the way so the repels are back at the top of the bag. Use one now. Also can't get that item because I don't have Surf yet. But you can tell that Surf is not far off from how much is starting to be integrated into the map, right? Of course, there are surf areas way at the beginning of this game, but they're starting to get more in my face and more popping up as bonus areas along the actual path of the journey instead of just being out of my way. Deerling's summer form. The luster of its body and its coloring is like a thicket in summer. The scent emanating from it is also very fresh and green. Thank you so much. I want to go catch my own Deerling right away. That's it? Okay. Wonder whether anything will happen if I show him all four. Well, I wouldn't bet on it. I did like his description, though. That was very pleasant to read. Anyway, we'll get Toronto back. And then Charge Stone Cave time. Boop, boop. Even though Deerling is not a normal part of the playthrough, he can just hang out here with his friends instead of being isolated in another box or something. This is fine. Wouldn't want it to be lonely. And zoom through this route one more time. No reason not to use repels. Would be able to take a bit of a shortcut with Surf if I had it. But enough dwelling on that. I'll have Surf soon enough. And then Steinbach will be doubling up on HMs. Very useful to the team. HMs are downplayed a little bit in X and Y. They're still necessary in some places, but we're at the late end here of sort of the old school Pokemon generations where HMs are kind of a vital part of the journey in a number of spots. Although I guess Surf is kind of downplayed in Unova. I can't really think of anywhere that you need to Surf. At least in Black and White. So I guess HMs are getting a little less important already. Certainly than they were in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. I don't think I don't think any game is topping those for being full of untamed wilderness where you just need HMs to get through a lot of places. Anyway, thanks for waiting. Clay conveniently arrives at the same time I do. Or maybe he was hanging around waiting for me like Charon always has to do. Looks like the nest of an electric-type Pokemon called Galvantula. Don't know why there's a nest here, but if there are folks having problems, the gym leader is the one to fix it. Rock-a-Rock, take it out. And this here TM's yours. It's my favorite TM, so you can teach it to all your Pokemon. Bulldoze, not bad. Probably will teach it to somebody. Well, Bulldoze. This move does damage and lowers the speed of any Pokemon it hits. Some ground-type Pokemon move a little slower than you'd think. If you use Bulldoze right, you can cover that weakness. I don't know how good you really are, but if you think you can go wherever. And if you think you can do something, keep doing it. If you think you can go wherever. Okay, sure. It's not a way of wording that I'm used to, but I get what he's saying. Do things how you want. Decide your own limits. I guess that kind of is the theme of the game too, right? I talk a lot about truth and ideals, especially through Charon and Bianca, to some extent representing those things. But they both are chasing their own particular dreams and finding out what they want for themselves along the way. It's another very common theme in Pokemon games, but it clashes nicely with Ghetsis trying to, well, being a megalomaniac, trying to take control of the entire region and dictate how people in Pokemon live their lives. When, obviously, it's kind of idealized, kind of a fantasy utopia world, as Pokemon always is, but left to their own devices, we see people and Pokemon building great communities in harmony together without anyone having to exercise the kind of tight control that Ghetsis wants that in reality would drag most people down because they're different people with their own lives to live, their own interests, and same goes for the Pokemon. You get the idea. Let's go into Chargestone Cave. Final thought. Let's go into Chargestone Cave. Final thought. Apparently it's a responsibility of a gym leader, or at least Clay thinks so, to, go outside of his city and deal with something like that Galvantula web. I'm not sure exactly how to look at it. Either Clay is very hands-on, getting involved in helping deal with problems, as we also saw with Team Plasma earlier. It's part of why the community. It's part of why this region works so well, though, as a diverse community. Because people do often come together to help each other out. We saw Elisa get Clay to lower the drawbridge for us earlier, and now Clay is clearing a roadblock, kind of paying it forward. Not a bad model of how this kind of environment can work so well for people and Pokemon alike. But also, I guess it's just kind of, this is part of the gym leader's role because they're the local strong trainer, right? That's in large part what a gym leader is. They're somebody who's known to be good at training Pokemon. So they would be able to help step up and deal with situations involving Pokemon, like having their Rock break through that web. But I guess there's a lot of that in this game. I mean, we'll see more of it from the gym leaders later, but people just kind of coming together, stepping up to help deal with a problem, even if it's outside of their immediate area. Anyway, we're in Chargestone Cave now, and do you see who that is just ahead? I know who that is. Let's go see him. Oh, forgot about these guys, though. ... Come. ... My Lord N, we brought the one you wanted. And they disappear, okay. He seems happy to see me. Oh yes. That was Shadow Triad just now. Guess isn't listed them in Team Plasma. Apparently they were the ones who prepared the Galvantula nest at the cave entrance. Chargestone Cave. I like this place. Formulas express electricity and its connection to Pokemon. If people did not exist, this would be an ideal place. You've been chosen, you know. Does it surprise you that I said that? Yeah. I don't know what he's talking about. Of course. Such news should be a surprise. I told guesses about you and your friends. After I did, he apparently used the Shadow Triad to find out about you. Sharon is pursuing the ideal of strength. Poor Bianca has faced the sad truth that not everyone can become stronger. And you were not swayed either way, and more of a neutral presence. Of course. Pokemon protagonist. And doesn't know what he's dealing with here. Which is apparently a good thing. Team Plasma will be waiting for you ahead. Guess just want to see what kind of Pokemon trainer you really are. Okay. That's cool, I guess. Anyway. I don't like Chargestone Cave. Look at that gap through the floor we can see down there. Wasn't really anything like that in past games. We've got these sparks when we run by these rocks. We're going to push some floaty rocks. Actually, we're going to do that in just a moment. Hey! Bianca. And Professor Juniper. Black, did you know this? The floating stones move when you touch them. Yeah, actually, I just said that. Right, Professor? Here she is. Hi there. How are you, Black? This is the early end of professors taking a more active role in the story, right? Like, Professor Oak would mostly just stay in his lab. Mostly. I think I don't remember Professor Elm ever leaving his lab. Professor Birch, mostly lab. Professor Rowan, mostly lab. It's gonna become normal after this game that the Professor Sycamore is still mostly lab, but he sends his assistants around to do stuff for him. Professor Kukui is gonna show up all over those stories. Professor Magnolia is barely around at all. She's passing the torch to Sonia, but Sonia shows up a lot. Sada and Turo have their own thing going on. Yeah, Professor Juniper actually going out into the field, exploring the region, crossing paths with you sometimes. Kind of a precedent for professors having an expanded role in the story of Pokemon games going forward. Anyway, this place is always charged with lots of electricity that Pokemon like. The electric charges react from one stone to another, and that's why some of the stones are floating. But not all of the stones can be pushed. My father asked me to research Clink, which is a Pokemon that looks like a gear, because I'm researching the origins of Pokemon in the era they appeared. Is that the first direct mention of her father? I don't remember. There was some stuff about a professor before, implying that there are multiple professors out there, but anyway. I can't remember whether her father's been mentioned before. Of course, we'll meet him soon. He knows how to get what he wants from people, but I was already interested in this anyway, so it's a lot of fun. Oh yeah, Black, this is for you. Lucky Egg, a little earlier than I thought I remembered. But I knew it was coming soon. Giving that lucky egg to a Pokemon to hold increases the amount of experience points received in battle by a lot. Having strong Pokemon will make it easier to fill your Pokedex pages. Alright, I definitely want to use the lucky egg. But it's a little bit tricky, because I don't think I'm going to make as good use of the lucky egg as I normally would in a playthrough, because I think I still want to lead with my acrobatics guy. What item does Charlottetown have? Amulet coin. I think it's time to move the experience share to Churchill. I'll give the lucky egg to Quebec, so when Quebec does get into a battle, there's extra experience. I'll give the experience share to Churchill. I still don't know if Churchill is long for the team, but it doesn't really matter. It's here right now. Anyway, first time doing this in this playthrough. Shoop. Spell's effect wore off. Now I can get my Chargestone Cave encounter. If it's anything cool. Ferroseed. I'll try to catch it. I don't think I'll train it. I have a grass type already. I'm not so interested in a steel type that I want a slow, bulky one for an in-game playthrough. Cool enough Mon, though. That Gyro Ball did reasonable damage into resistance, of course. I'm actually going to power it up with this Thunder Wave because it's based on the user's relative speed compared to the opponent. The slower, the more powerful. Ferroseed is very slow. Zebstrika is on the faster end. Look at how much that did now. Alright, please stay in a Great Ball right away. That is not a Pokemon with an especially high attack stat, I think. Resisted attack. But once that speed difference got crazy high, that was doing a lot. I don't love variable power moves like that in an in-game playthrough because you don't know what kind of opponents you're going to run into. And even with slow Pokemon, you train them a decent amount, they tend to get faster than the opponents. So I'm not a big Gyro Ball in-game spammer. It's all the more reason not to train this. But it is pretty powerful. in the right situation. When threatened, it attacks by shooting a barrage of spikes, which gives it a chance to escape by rolling away. Anyway, we're gonna name this Saskatoon and send it to the PC. And yeah, that means no Galvantula and no Electros. So some extra staying power for Quebec the Zebstrika, who surely will be helpful in the gym at this point. Unless something really unexpected happens in the, I think, 2 encounters remaining in this episode. And we can rappel through the rest of this cave. Never get tired of the sparks, never get tired of pushing the magnetic rocks. Chargestone Cave is just a really cool route design. I always enjoy it when I come through here. I think I actually want to go this way first, because it's not the way forward. So I want to talk to this guy and then take the path forward. This cave is full of rocks generating electricity. The electricity is charging me up. Yeah, I don't blame him. I really like this cave. I don't know how I feel about the Chargestone Cavern at the Blueberry Academy. It kind of feels like nostalgia bait, in the same way that everything about Blueberry Academy being in Unova does. Given that they, I guess, knew by that point that they weren't doing a Unova remake or Legends anytime soon. But it's still kind of nice to have an area like that again. I don't know, nostalgia bait usually works on me in Pokemon. Maybe that one just feels extra blatant, but it still kind of works on me. I forgot to use the Bulldoze TM, so we'll dig here and then fix that. Klefki looks like it levitates, but I don't think it gets levitate. I said Klefki, I meant Clink. The same is true of Klefki, though. But Klefki isn't in this game, it's a Gen 6 Pokemon. I know the Clink line have kind of polarizing designs. They're definitely not among my favorites. I would say overall I'm not especially fond of them, but I don't hate them. And I kind of appreciate, it's another one where I kind of appreciate what Game Freak was trying to do with the design. Bulldoze. Moncton can learn it. I think it's more worthwhile than Rock Smash. It's probably more worthwhile than Agility, too. Alright, I'll ditch Agility. And then I'll also teach it to Charlottetown over Dig. It's, I think it's weaker. But I like that it executes in only one turn. I sure do. Yeah, 20 points weaker. But of course that's 40 stronger over 2 turns. Bulldoze it is. Open this up. Can't push that one anywhere. Accidentally tried. It just kind of floats. Kind of wiggles. Let's do it from this side. Kind of wiggles. There's nowhere for it to go. It's not being pulled in by one of these guys. Is this the first Ace Trainer of the playthrough? I will test you to see whether you have what it takes to aim for the Pokemon League. That's something that the first Ace Trainer of a playthrough would say, but it's also something that, like, the 21st Ace Trainer of a playthrough would say, so I don't know. This guy also has an Arcan. We gonna have an Arcan fight? I'm down. Ooh, his is at a higher level. Maybe I'm scared. Let's try a Rock Tomb. I missed. Okay, he just went for Agility. No damage yet. Let's try another Rock Tomb. Quick Guard. Oh, useless. We just need to land our attacks and we've got this. That almost KO'd right there. I can switch to Rock Smash now so I won't miss. He's just spamming Quick Guard. This guy doesn't know how to train at all. Who's out here declaring him an ace? That is. I see. The way that guy battled was first Ace Trainer of the playthrough behavior for sure. That guy Peter principled his way there or something. I don't really know how Ace Trainers are designated. Maybe if you just say you are, it's a question of people. You say you are an ace, it's a question of people believing it. That would make sense. They say that there is a strong champion in the Pokemon League. Someday I will be able to challenge the Pokemon League. Well, you keep your dreams alive, buddy, but you've got a long way to go. 2-level advantage, Arcan versus Arcan, just spamming Agility and Quick Guard. Certainly a choice. Anyway, is there anything over here? Sometimes I think there are hidden items under these things. Otherwise, they're just little floaties. They kind of add to the atmosphere of the cave. Oh, I'm startled by these two approaching again. Hi there, did you find something? I think we're just about done collecting data. That was quick. This cave has been around since the distant past, but data to prove that Klefki why do I keep doing that? I like Klefki, but it's not even in this game. Data to prove that Clink existed more than 100 years ago can't be found, so that must mean Clink suddenly appeared 100 years ago. Oh. Where Pokemon came from and where they are going. If we can learn that, I believe we can get along even better. Know what, Black? Pokemon are mysterious. I wonder why these amazing little guys stay by our sides. So what are we thinking about Clink here? I mean, Clink could easily be a man-made Pokemon. It could. Although man-made Pokemon, there's usually something special to them, right? Like Porygon is so in your nose about being basically a computer program. Mewtwo is a legendary it came from a secret project that in some versions failed many times before success. Magearna is a mythical Pokemon. Link could be a man. I think there are other ordinary Pokemon that are at least implied in their lore to maybe be man-made, even if it's not explicitly confirmed. Clink could be one. Or did Clink emerge in nature somehow? As a sentient bunch of gears. Or are we back on the Pokemon or aliens stuff? Clink came from their home planet. Who's to say? I don't know what they're cooking with that, if anything. I mean, my guess is probably man-made, but who's to say? Where Pokemon came... Okay, she's just saying the same thing again. Bianca is planning on staying here and catching Pokemon. Traveling is about encounters, you know? Is she going to use any Chargestone Cave encounters in later battles? I don't remember that, but we'll see. I guess she doesn't have to use Pokemon at battles to catch them. I caught a Deerling that I'll never use in a battle. Oh, interesting. Just directly... Look at this. I never tried this out before. I'm looking around. As soon as I face it, it wiggles. I don't have to step under it. Right? No reaction. Left, no reaction. Forward, no reaction. Boom. Forward, I meant my back to it. I'm a hiker exploring caves. I will teach you the harshness of life and the difficulty of Pokemon battles. Okay, sure. I don't know why a hiker exploring caves is the best person to do that, but whatever. Hiker Hardy. You know this guy means business because his name is literally Hardy. He's someone who can brave the great outdoors, no doubt. Let's go to Toronto. Get Leech Seed to break the Sturdy, and then Leaf Tornado. I like Leech Seed to break Sturdy because I get that little bit of recovery on the mandatory turn where I can't knock it out right away. The Leaf Tornado accuracy drop would be nice too, but it is, I don't know what the chance is, but it's unlikely. Back down, you know, bonk. Yeah, that's not doing much. Then I get a little bit back. 30 is not too annoying to deal with this way. They all have Sturdy in this game, so it's nice to have a tech like that up my sleeve. Another point for Snivy as the starter choice here. And then goodbye Boldore. And yeah, Churchill's starting to get some experience now, leveling up for I think the first time. Here's a Girder, so no Leech Seed strat this time, we just attack. Probably going to take more than one. Nice accuracy drop, it lands his attack anyway, so it goes, and we just have to land our attack again. Perfect. Well, guess I'll take a hike. Alright, Hiker Hardy, you're redeemed with that one. That was funny. In the caves, Pokemon lurk in the piles of dirt. Alright, take a hike, bro. Can't go this way. This is a shortcut to double back. But I have to go the long way around to get to that side. Huh. So approaching it doesn't make it wiggle. If I'm already here, and I turn to face it, boom. Stepping here, of course. I actually never noticed that it works exactly that way before, because why would I be paying close attention to it before? Let's admire the view for a sec, like a hiker exploring caves. We're gonna go down there, of course. Nice little preview. And then Long Bridge, and these doofuses, now there are three of them. Dot, 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 come. Just gotta shimmy along here. You know, I could have crossed the bridge without them. There really was no need for that. Dot, dot, dot. There are stairs going down ahead. Team Plasma is waiting for you there. Look, I can cross a bridge myself. You can tell if you know this route already. The area down there maps to where I'll be going once I'm downstairs. It is absolutely the same spot. Anyway. You get it. I don't have to gush about Chargestone Cave forever. Still ways to go to get through here. I love this place. The electricity charges up my inspiration. This is a good part of the region for scientists, huh? They can check out the seasons outdoors, or they can be charged up by the electricity in here. Here's another Clink. Clink. We're gonna get this Pokemon's name right. Give it the respect it deserves. This is a Clink. Moncton will get to level 30 off the experience from this. X special. Can't say I'm too worried about that. The only special attack it's likely to have is like Charge Beam. So just switching to a ground type ought to shut that down. Here's our first Bulldoze. We dodge a Gear Grind and we can close this out with a Mud Slap. Probably don't need to keep Mud Slap much longer. Now that this Pokemon is legitimately strong and not trying to cheese some matchups here and there. Aha! That made a light bulb go on in my head. When a person moves, electric signals travel in the body. Also, when a person is an inspiration, electric signals travel to the brain. Cool. Let's go this way. Just push just one of them so I can get to this item. Grab some iron. Admire this view one more time. Look at you can see stairs down there that I'm going to climb later. You weren't seeing stuff like this in earlier generations. Except, I guess, in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, when you can peek into the basement of the burnt tower through the giant hole in the floor, and you can see the legendary Pokemon before you go down there. Hard to beat that. Anyway, here we are. These guys will give me nuggets, I think. Hi, we're the Nugget Brothers. I am the big brother, and I am the little brother of the Nugget Brothers. Glad you showed up. I want to give you this. Whoa, it's a nugget. Who could have guessed? I want to give you this, too. Oh, another nugget. Let's go. I'm rich. That's a nugget. How'd it get so golden without deep frying? Trade secret. Nugget about it. Gotta love those silly gimmick characters. They just give me free money and then they say, nugget about it. Don't ask me how I got this. Welcome to Unova. 3 of those things. Nice touch. Maybe I'm easily pleased by the design of this area, but there's gonna be a hidden item under that one. HP up. But yeah, you gotta have those little floaties that move like that when you move past under them. Of course, you gotta line some of them up. Now, I believe the next trainer to battle is either a doctor or a nurse, so we get access to healing in here. Yep, doctor. If you like, I will make your Pokemon healthy. I do like. Absolutely. However, let me challenge you to a battle first. Sure, I like that too. Swadloon. That's just acrobatics food. Of course, it'll stall a turn with Protect, but that makes no practical difference. Why do NPCs bother? GG. Honestly, they should probably just not have given Protect to NPC Pokemon. They don't really ever do anything except annoy the player, I think, by slowing it down. Doesn't matter though, not a big deal. Now, as promised, I will make your Pokemon healthy. Amazing. Let's go. To make people healthy, doctors go where they are needed. Oh, look who it is. And wants to battle me himself, but not just yet, huh? Alright, let's go. You came here because somebody manipulated you. What? If you can win against me, I will tell you the secret. Why are they all acting like I would not pass through this cave if not for them? It is the route to my next destination. These guys really thought they cooked, and they didn't do anything. Which I guess is classic Pokemon villain behavior right there. Let's just Rock Smash through the Sandal. Acrobatics is stronger. But Rock Smash is strong enough. These guys really can't do anything. Scraggy, do you have Intimidate? Can't remember whether Intimidate is his hidden ability or one of the regular ones. In any case, doesn't have it. Goodbye. Want to tell me again about me being manipulated here? Oh, he's another Pokemon. I missed that. This time we'll just Acrobatics. This is his last one. Yeah, one-shots, okay. Might want to switch another Pokemon to the front of the party soon. I think I will after Chargestone Cave. This guy can't believe he lost. That was not a close battle, bro. I used Rock Smash to one-shot your first Pokemon. Getsus of the Seven Sages supports our king, and Getsus has 3 subordinates. They are the Shadow Triad. Is that who manipulated me? How? By popping up and frog marching me across a bridge that I was about to cross anyway? This might be the silliest Team Plasma has been yet. If I win against you, release your Pokemon. Alright. Sure. You got it. One Pokemon, Scraggy. You Intimidate? Didn't think so. Plasma! I'm mortified. I don't understand. Your Pokemon seem to be happy next to you. How about that? This Archon was a fossil before I came along. Pokemon living in Chargestone Cave are so beautiful because they're free from people. Okay. Go on. Let's see how this... I was gonna say how it takes an Acrobatics. I'll actually Bulldoze. I don't need to Acrobatics everything, right? Also, this is a Trubbish. It probably takes a hit. Whatever I throw at it. Never mind, okay. They got all the worst Team Plasma grunts on this job, huh? Let's see if this can take an Acrobatics. Fake Out's a good start. You know, it chips me down a little bit, gets me a little bit closer to defeatist. And even if I win this battle, which, yeah, that didn't take an Acrobatics at all. There's still more grunts after this. Churchill grows to level 25. Plasma! It's bad for ordinary trainers like you to use Pokemon. It's good for us members of Team Plasma to use Pokemon. Well, isn't that a lot of, Isn't that a lot of movements in a nutshell? You are the trainer that my Lord N is worried about. By the way, I'm not taking a dig at any specific movement there. I know I have at some points in this series, but... I mean, there are plenty that, that hold views that boil down to that. Whatever type of interest group you think I'm talking about, you might be right, but there are definitely more. Anyway, one-shot this. Dragon Breath. I'm down to delete Rock Smash for Dragon Breath. Dragon Breath is cool. At least has a nice animation. I like that Archon gets a little bit of Dragon-type flavor in its learn set. Even though it's not a Dragon type. You can certainly see why it would be Dragon adjacent. Is this Grunt's team just literal, this Grunt's team is just garbage. I guess that's true of all these Grunts, but this one is the most on the nose about it. Just garbage, all the way through. Goodbye. You may have beaten me, but you're still no better than the other trainers around here. Okay, she means morally. I understand. My Lord N grew up with Pokemon. He thinks about Pokemon more than anybody else. And what's that doing for him? Also, you might not know how much I think about Pokemon. As a proud member of Team Plasma, I will gladly battle with you. Alright. You gonna do any better than any of the others? Can your Pokemon take a hit? Watchog, okay. There are some Pokemon repeated by these grunts, but there's a decent amount of variety outside of that one garbage team. Nothing's helping them out here, though, so far. Sandile. I don't have Rock Smash anymore. Guess I'll just have to Acrobatics. Yeah, that works. Of course it does. It's stronger than Rock Smash was. Even with Rock Smash being super effective. Guy still talking about being a proud member of Team Plasma. What do you fight for? No, what do you live for? Well, isn't that a question at this stage in my life? I don't know, but not the same stuff as you. Take a detour from Team Plasma nonsense. I mean, I'm barely noticing these grunts. They're not, take a detour from these Team Plasma flies buzzing around to grab this Thunderstone. That's where I could have gotten one to evolve an Electric if I had an Electric. Hope of Team Plasma. Well, it has nothing to do with you. Well, okay. Why are you so interested in me then? Why are you all swarming around and claiming I've been manipulated? I'm not over that. Just showing up on the path that I'm already taking and saying, aha! The fact that you're here shows we're manipulating you. When it's just the obvious place for me to go for my own interests. This might honestly be sillier than anything Team Flare ever did. And what are they gaining from it? Churchill's ready to learn Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot's not very good. 65 power, 85 accuracy, Game Freak Y, but it is, you know, coverage. I'll delete Avalanche for it, because when am I using that? Now I've got Ice, Steel, and normal coverage. Isn't that great? It's pretty much what a Vanillite is going to naturally get. Ice, Steel, normal coverage. Not the best, but better than nothing. The hope of Team Plasma. We know our king will lead us. He will free the Pokemon. You, release your Pokemon and stop being a trainer. I'm sorry, were you saying something to me? I am going to go down these stairs, but let's just clean up this last grunt first. Okay, trainer, you use Pokemon. Show me your strength. You trying to be like that guy at the back of the Nugget Bridge? Aha! You cleared the gauntlet, but now I can take advantage of you being weakened, because if that's what you're going for, one little problem. I think my Archon took one attack this whole time. I think it was a fake out. Maybe there was a second fake out? Not very weakened. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the Pokemon they use are getting a little repetitive, but there were a few different evolution lines here. Anyway, I see. You're very good at using Pokemon. Well, because they use Pokemon, people hold competitions to sort out the strong from the weak. Is this fair? Is this right? Are Pokemon just the trainer's tools? Those are good, thoughtful questions that I would find easier to take seriously if, one, I didn't have, like, every other NPC all over the region telling me the answer, and two, if I could take you guys seriously right now. Haha, you've been manipulated. We showed up on the path that you were always going to take, and that means we have you right where we want you. Anyway, here's some thoughtful questions that I won't be elaborating on after you demolish my team. I think there are tougher trainers down here. Yeah, there's another Ace trainer. I think the Ace trainers down here are a bit more legit than that earlier one. I'm really serious about training. I even visit this electrified cave to train myself and my Pokemon. See, she's really serious. She's not just gonna spam Quick Guard. I don't think. Right, Allison? Good Drillbur. Let's see how that takes in Acrobatics. I should probably move somebody else to the front of the party, yeah, after the cave, but I don't know, just sweeping through things with Moncton and eventually getting Moncton evolved into an Archeops is pretty appealing. I am going to switch out on the Substrika, though. That could probably take an Acrobatics because it's resisted, and I have just the thing to deal with it. Charlottetown, you are in danger of losing your MVP status, to be honest. Coming in on that Spark is a nice touch. Flame Charge -1 does not very much damage. I need extra money from this too because Charlottetown has the Amulet Coin. It'll still be faster, of course, because you got a speed boost before the speed drop. But everybody clicks Dark-type attacks into Krokorok. I swear, this is a pattern we've seen throughout this playthrough. I was just kidding around when I called it out earlier, but they have not stopped. It's like the AI just forgets that this specific evolution line is Dark-type. I don't know. You know what, though? She was tougher than the Plasma, probably all the Plasma Grunts combined. And certainly that other ace trainer, so I'll give her that. Some Pokemon like to live in this electrified cave. Don't you think that people should stay out? Ah, interesting. Well, what do you think, then? You come here to train. I guess it's kind of her personal Mount Silver, a wilderness area, a harsh wilderness area where she can get the best training in. But, see, now we're starting to ask the interesting questions. Right? Is her training experience worth whatever impact there is on the lives of Pokemon that are used to living in a more isolated environment? I don't really think the game's going to do anything to answer that question, but hey, we're getting a little bit more of a nuanced look at the region than most NPCs with their "it's 100% impossible to live without Pokemon" stuff. I don't think the game will build on it much. I'm not trying to be too critical of this game's story, by the way. I do think it's the best game story in the series, other than maybe Scarlet and Violet, but I don't think the game will build too much on the interesting stuff it's starting to set up there, but you know, I'll call this out when I see it. Should I give this bright powder to someone? Quebec has the lucky egg right now. Steinbach is the Eviolite. Okay, I'll hold on to the bright powder for now. Maybe when somebody's fully evolved and the Eviolite's not useful to them anymore. Right. This way. Another ace trainer. Even at an electrified place like this, if somebody challenges me, I will take that challenge. That is an ace trainer. It is, I really like Chargestone Cave. It is a little silly that every NPC, no matter what they're talking about, is like, this is a really electrified place. I'll battle even at an electrified place like this. An electrified place like this sure charges me up. Like, I guess it is noteworthy enough to justify all of them calling it out like that, but it starts to feel a little silly after a while. Anyway, there's another Pokemon that can't take an acrobatics, although that was a crit, so we don't actually know that. Churchill's leveling up rapidly. I might want to think about moving the experience share. Let's try to Rock Tomb this Ducklet. The only thing that could lose me the battle, I think, is missing, but didn't happen that time, at least. Lilligant, that's acrobatics food for sure. Let's give this Prismatic Draft League champion some proper respect. Lilligant, my second round pick and a major part of the championship team. But this is a different Lilligant at a different time. And my draft team did have a bit of a flying weakness for a while. Anyway. I'm electrified. Bits of knowledge about electricity. An electric current runs from plus to minus, and an electron runs from minus to plus. Okay. I'm not sure a kid playing this game understands what she's talking about there. Maybe in some places. I mean like a... Oh, I forgot to use another repel. I mean like a young child. I don't know what their second encounter here is a Joltik, but second encounter doesn't count. I don't know what they're teaching young children in Japan or other countries. I mean, genuinely, I don't know. But I don't think that would have been intelligible to me if I had been a young kid when I first playing my first Pokemon game when Black and White came out. To be honest. There's a little area there that's inaccessible, but gives a little bit more life to this cave. Would like to run around the cliffs down there and stuff, but no rock climb in this game. Make sure we run past a Sparky guy to get that rare candy. The game makes sure we do that, is what I mean. Anyway, not a whole lot else to see here. We've really swept through this cave more quickly than I thought, largely on the strength of broken acrobatics with no item. This is the last area here. I want to solve all the mysteries in the world. For that purpose, I will keep fighting. All right. I like this guy. I like this guy's energy. I will fight to solve all the mysteries In this electrified cave! He actually didn't say electrified cave. I like him even more. Maybe he'll say it after the battle. I guess I could be going to Quebec to deal with the Clink. They only have steel, electric, and like really weak normal coverage. Maybe. They don't even necessarily have all of those. Oh well. I'll probably move Quebec back to the front of the party soon. There's Gear Grind. Not a bad little animation. Did some damage too at -1 attack. Wow. But goodbye, Clink. Hey, mystery guy, Orville. Whether I win or lose, mysteries only deepen. Did you know that Klefki suddenly appeared about 100 years? Guys, I swear I'm not doing it on purpose. Did you know that Clink suddenly appeared about 100 years ago? What's the deal with that? I don't think I could solve all the mysteries by myself. However, if I can discover something new and help someone, I will be satisfied. Alright, get to work on that Clink thing. I swear I almost said Klefki again. This is the shortcut I called out earlier. I think if I go down here... Yeah, Bianca and Professor Juniper are still hanging around. I thought they'd done their work. I don't really know why they're just kind of lurking there now. We go down here. Narrowly dodging that dust pile. Maybe I didn't want to dodge it if it's an item, but I definitely did if it's a Pokemon. Take this! The winning strategy I've developed! Alright, let's see it. Somebody in this cave has to be a good trainer, right? In this electrically charged cave, somebody has to be a threat. Ooh, Whimsicott. That is the cornerstone of many a good strategy. Let's see what you've got. Mega Drain is not super promising, to be honest with you. That didn't even knock me to defeatist range. Goodbye, Whimsicott. What's next? I do like that we're starting to see some of these evolved Pokemon that are not too crazy to deal with, but are definitely more imposing than what we've been running into so far. Real sign of progress through the game there. Everything kind of laid out nicely. Be appropriate to the journey. To where I'm at in the journey, I mean. I think they did a pretty good job generally with that kind of thing. Yeah, Zebstrika already looking kind of weak here. Relying on Spark for damage is not very helpful. Get some boosted experience though, assuming we do actually beat this. And okay, crit will make it take... that boost experience still wasn't much. A crit will mean it only takes 2 hits instead of 3, which I thought it would be. I feel down only briefly. I am a trainer. If I give up, my Pokemon cannot do anything, right? Sure, bro. Maybe I need to give a magnet to Quebec. But I really want to use the lucky egg on someone. But yeah, Quebec needs to hit harder. I guess I'll give the lucky egg to Steinbach and stop using the Eviolite for now. I think that's okay. It's not very, it's kind of uninspired, but I'm just swimming in good items right now, which feels weird for an in-game playthrough. I feel like you don't normally get so many good items thrown at you so quickly. Of course, I am in this playthrough specifically exploring almost everywhere and talking to everyone, so I am being rewarded for that. Can't really complain about that. But it's getting a little bit overwhelming how many useful items I have to juggle and prioritize. Anyway, there's the exit. Just behind this guy. Many different values mixed together, the world becomes gray. That is unforgivable. I will separate Pokemon and people in black and white will be clearly distinct. Only then will Pokemon become perfect beings. Yes, that is my dream. That is a dream I must fulfill. Black, do you have a dream of your own? I don't know, sure. You have a dream. That's wonderful. I wonder just what kind of dream you have in battle. I don't know, dude. Kind of just chilling. And is very on his black and white morality arc right now. I mean, he called that out explicitly. And it's just kind of what he's all about. He'll learn. Go ahead and get Charlottetown in here, intimidate the Bulldor. I could Mud Slap to break Sturdy. Although I don't know if Bulldoze will necessarily KO after that, but yeah, I'm down to try something a little different here. That said, if Charlottetown goes down here, it might actually get harder to beat the rest of N's Pokemon because Charlottetown is just one of my best matchup pieces into them. But let's see. He can miss his attack here. He goes for Iron Defense. That's actually, you know what? I'm actually going to switch out of that because I think it takes a Bulldoze now. You believe Pokemon battles help us understand one another? I'm counting on it. I certainly do think they help us understand one another, and I think we're going to get somewhere good with that. You and me battling so many times. And I was kind of hopeful when Gen 5 was new, when I saw Bulldor's design and Gigalith's design with those gems sticking out, and saw that they learned Power Gem by level up. I was kind of hopeful that we get like an interesting rock-type special attacker, which wasn't really a thing at that point in the series. But the Gigalith line was not that, they were just the usual physical tanks. But just off of appearance and move pool, I kind of got hopeful that they would at least be viable special attackers. That was one kind of disappointment for me when I dug more into the new Pokemon stats and stuff. Nice. Electro Web immunity. Try to Flame Charge through this Joltik. Not that I have an issue with Gigalith, it's a cool Pokemon. Not one of my favorites, it's alright. I feel like I say that about a lot of Gen 5 Pokemon, but that's how I feel. But I just had a different hope for it that wasn't what it actually turned out to be. And again, you know, Gen 1 already had a 3-stage trade evolving tanky rock type, physically tanky rock type. Felt a little bit samey in that sense, even though it's an interesting design for sure. Quebec finally gets to level 30. I'm just gonna Flame Charge this Ferroseed. I know I'll take Iron Thorns. Is that what it's called? No, Iron Thorns is a Pokemon. Iron Barbs? I know I'll take Iron Barbs damage, but Flame Charge is just the best damage I have into a Ferroseed. Look at how slowly it's spitting now that it's at low HP. That looks kind of silly. Because all Pokemon's animations slow down when they're in the red, right? Quebec's about to do it too, because of the Iron Thorns, Barbs. That Ferroseed looked kind of silly there. I'll sack Quebec here to get another Flame Charge into this. Behold! He said something about love for Pokemon permeating every cell of his body, except its end, so he said something about love for Pokemon permeating every cell of his body. Behold! I'm down to sack Quebec to get, I don't know, somebody else in to close this out. No need. Flame Charge one-shots with a crit. Nice. Too bad I don't have a lucky egg on this Substrika anymore, huh? My friend's getting hurt. That's what a Pokemon battle is. Why? Is it impossible for me to win while feeling bad about being a trainer? As if I could pursue my ideals with something as meaningless as battle. As if that could make me worthy to become friends with the legendary Pokemon. Black! Just a little further to Mistralton City. Here's Professor Juniper. She's about to meet Ed. Bianca, you have good ears. I can't believe you heard Black's voice from that far away. Black, who is this trainer? Professor Juniper, what are you thinking? You, Peter, have no qualms about the relationship between people and Pokemon. Pokemon and people. Of course he puts Pokemon first. You know what? That's actually my bias, saying people first, because I assume that's what he's going to say. But of course N is going to say Pokemon first. That is kind of funny that I keep getting tripped up by his dialogue in that specific way. It really does say something, actually, about my real-life mindset and his fictional one. He put Pokemon into categories using arbitrary rules and think you could understand them like that. The very idea of a Pokedex revolts me. What do you have to say for yourself? Oh my, looks like you're not my biggest fan. Your opinion is understandable. It happens to be different from mine, which is equally understandable. How about if all people get to decide for themselves how to relate to Pokemon? You're saying I should just allow people to think whatever they want and treat Pokemon however they want, no matter whether Pokemon suffer? I've used tolerate the existence of a world like that. I mean, they're asking tough questions there, right? That's what makes this such an engaging story for a Pokemon game. Well, I didn't expect him to change his mind right away, but I hope he'll spend a little time trying to understand how others feel. Now then, I think I'll go collect a little more data. I thought you were already finished. For Pokemon and people to get along better, we need to take steps to learn more about them. Black? I'm gonna go with Professor Juniper now, because I'm her bodyguard. Look at Bianca. She went from needing Iris to be her bodyguard. I'm sure Professor Juniper can handle herself, but I think Bianca is serious about keeping an eye out for her. Yeah, so I mean, we're seeing a lot of the same beats that we saw with the storyline with Bianca's dad, right? There's a nice tie-in there. En is right that leaving people in Pokemon free to choose their own paths outside of his idealized vision opens up the potential for them to get hurt, and it's going to actually happen sometimes. Professor Juniper, I think we're meant to agree, is right that people in Pokemon tend to thrive when they pursue their own way of doing things, and that there's real value in different people taking different approaches that are better for their lives, and can complain about the Pokedex being arbitrary. I could draw analogies to, my feelings about how some things are categorized in real life society. I'll give you a really easy one. I personally hate the way that people try to categorize themselves and others into generations, as they put it. Generation 1 Pokemon, Generation 2 Pokemon, that I'm on board with, but I hate when people start talking about boomers, millennials, Gen X, Gen Z. Can't stand that stuff. Disengage from a conversation as soon as it comes up. Stop reading an article when it gets into that territory. That's me. I'm not saying you should do those things. I'm saying that's how I am a lot of the time. Because I see those categories as poorly defined. Ask 5 people what the first year of Generation Z is. You'll probably get 5 different answers from people who are all absolutely convinced that they have the one true answer. But also because I see those categories mainly as just lazy tools to stereotype people, and I don't see value in that. It seems arbitrary and kind of gross. That's my view. But there are a lot of people. I mean, it's baffling to me. I cannot understand it. Maybe I'm the N here. It gets under my skin a little bit, but there are a lot of people who identify with those categories and seem to think, at least, that they get real meaning about the world from it. I'm actually having trouble using this as an example because I'm closer to N's side of this one. I'm skeptical. I don't see value in it, but a lot of people do. A lot of people self-identify with their particular category and they get some kind of meaning from it. And alright, that's their view of the world, and if they get value from it, that's good for them. That's what I guess I have to accept, and what N is being asked to accept about the relationship between people and Pokemon, right? Professor Juniper sees value in gathering Pokemon data into a Pokedex, and I mean, there is some individuality lost in a Pokedex, right? Like, we know that Pokemon vary in size, but Pokemon Pokemon vary in size and personality, but the Pokedex tends to average out things like size and kind of stereotype Pokemon personalities based on what are, most commonly observed or best known to researchers. I'm sure there is a lot of nuance that gets lost there. In fact, the games have done more to actually show some of that nuance as they've gotten more sophisticated in what they can portray. And then, of course, sometimes the Pokedex, gets a retcon because, like, Game Freak invents the fairy type. And in universe, I guess people suddenly realize, oops, Clefairy wasn't a normal type all this time. Our bad. So N has a point there. Just as he has a point that the relationship between people and Pokemon is not always an equal one, and there's room for serious harms to be done. And he's all in on imposing his view of the solution to that, but that solution is not going to work for a lot of other people. And that's what Professor Juniper is trying to tell him. It's what others have tried to tell him over the course of the game. Just as we've seen that Bianca's dad's solution to protecting his daughter isn't really what's best for her. She needs to go out into the world and grow as a person. We see that Bianca, sort of very true to herself all throughout the story, identifies her own areas of interest and need for improvement and develops into the person that she wants to be. Charon is at the early end. He's following a very particular path that he thinks is the one true right one, but he's going to gradually figure out what the subjective best path for him is, because he'll learn from Alder that there isn't a one true right path that's just laid out for everyone. Yeah, I mean, and we'll get there. There's a lot more that can be said about the value of these lessons. I was like 19. Approximately that. I was late teens or early 20s when Gen 5 was current. If you were a kid when these games came out, genuinely, you probably got some pretty good life lessons from them. You love to see it. Anyway, let's finally get out of that cave. I mean, I like the cave, but now we're in a new city. Let's go. Let's go to the Pokemon Center first. And let's go chat with some people. You know how it is. When a Pokemon learns the move Hidden Power, somehow I can tell what type the move will be. Alright, let's just check my starter. Why not? If this Pokemon were to learn Hidden Power, Toronto the Servine, the move's type would be Dragon. Alright, Heart of a Dragon in my Servine. That's what I'm talking about. No wonder this playthrough is going so well. Never mind the Nuzlocke part failing pretty early. The entry? I think we're going for entry, right? Because it's like a tree and a form, whatever. And the entree and pass power. What in the world is the Entralink? Well, we dug into that a little bit in the past episode. I don't care to dig into it more right now. Skyla's grandfather was a legendary pilot. Skyla is our city's gym leader. She's a really nice person. Okay, I love to hear it. These four are perfectly spaced out in a way that's immediately kind of creeping me out, but let's see what their deal is. Okay. I understand, because they all have specific jobs. This is their workplace. This is the move reminder. I don't think that's of interest right now, but I accidentally said yes. Let's check Quebec, because it's my only fully evolved Pokemon. Nah, nothing of interest. I mean, I could bring Shockwave back. That would probably be useful, but not worth a heart scale. This will be the move to leader. Who was I again? ... Let's see who that is. If I ever need to get Fly off of my Ducklet for some reason, now I know where to go. Our family is very fussy about Pokemon moves. Trading sweethearts you receive through feeling checks is one way to get heart scales. Go off your Pokemon to a lady in Driftvale City, you can get heart scales too. Okay, so these two are standing in their workstations. They're spread out like this. You can go to the one that you need. These two are doing the perfect spacing thing. Why? They just feel like it? There's Skyla. And? Huh, that guy sure looks like Professor Juniper, doesn't he? Oh, hey, Black, right? Let me see your Pokedex for a moment. What do we have here? So you found 67 Pokemon then? Staggering! You've seen a Clink! You've become quite the trainer. Yeah, you know it's Professor Juniper's dad because he's fascinated by Clink right now. That Pokemon only appeared 100 years ago, you know? Excuse me, I was a little excited I forgot my manners. My name is Juniper too, Cedric Juniper. Is Professor Juniper's first name ever said in Black and White? I think it is in Black 2 and White 2. But I think at this point, unless it was said at the very beginning and I forgot, we might just know this guy is Cedric Juniper and his daughter is just Professor Juniper. She doesn't need a name. The professor who gave you the Pokedex is my daughter. That girl has told me a lot about you. It really makes my day to meet you. In honor of our meeting, I'm going to upgrade your Pokedex. Okay, it's been upgraded. I don't remember what that means here. Let's find out. Some Pokemon can change forms even when it's the same individual. If you've already seen a form, you can check it with this whenever you want. Okay, makes sense right after Deerling was emphasized a fair bit, right? That's a Pokemon that changes forms, and it does it passively if you're training one over the course of the playthrough, which is going to do it sometimes. So if anything, this is a tiny bit late for this Pokedex upgrade, but I think it slots in nicely here when I've just started to have form changes shoved in my face. I also added a function to make searching easier. Professor, who's that trainer? Who's that trainer? Oh, I forgot my introductions. Skyla, this is a friend of my daughter's. Black is traveling around Unova to complete the Pokedex. Oh, I see. So that means you'll be challenging the gym. Oh boy, I'm really looking forward to it. That's right, Black. You should challenge this gym. If nothing else, this gym is really out there. See you, Skyla. If something comes up again, I'll let you know. Professor, my plane is a cargo plane. It carries cargo, not people. And you're talking as if places like Kanto and Sinnoh are right around the corner. Aw, Skyla, if you keep frowning, your face might freeze like that, and it'd be a shame. People and Pokemon, we all have to help each other out. See you later. Okay. Okay, Skyla is kind of a fun, carefree character, but she's not beating Cedric Juniper in the carefree department. She's the one frowning while he's like, whatever, let a cargo plane do the Japan. Let's go. Sheesh. It's hard to believe a happy-go-lucky guy like that could be a world-renowned Pokemon professor. Heads up, Black. As a gym leader, I'd be happy to have you challenge the gym, but there's something I need to take care of first. Just now, as I was flying the cargo plane, I saw something on top of the Celestial Tower. I'm sure that it is a sick Pokemon. If it is, I can't just leave it there. I have to look into this right away. I'm leaving for Route 7 Celestial Tower. You can come along if you want. So here's another gym leader stepping up, taking initiative, helping out others in need. Although in this case, she's helping out a Pokemon and not a person, right? Elisa and Clay both wandered out of their cities to help me deal with the situation that I had. And here, sick Pokemon. Gym leader stepping up, part of the community, taking care of Pokemon of the community just as much as the people, even though it's probably a wild Pokemon. Doesn't matter. And we're getting an immediate fun personality from Skyla here. Some good variety in these gym leaders, of course. Lenora, the serious scholar, Berg, the, I don't know, artist with ties to a couple of different cities. Kind of creative, somewhat carefree type. Elisa, the glamorous model who steps up for Bianca's interpersonal situation. Clay, the down-to-earth, busy, hard-nosed businessman who is very simple and direct in his dealings with nonsense people like Gutsus. And now Skyla, kind of peppy, kind of fun. Her gym challenge is her gym puzzle is insane. I don't know how they have no safety standards in this region. You'll love to see it. There are a lot of greenhouses around the runway. Freshly picked vegetables can be sent to faraway regions very quickly. Cannons! Cannons! Skyla's gym is full of cannons. That's right. Now we're getting into the mood. Isn't it fun? Good thing big government didn't step in. No nanny state here. If you have a gym badge from Mistralton, I'll tell you something cool. Alright, let's try to remember to talk to that guy. Probably have to do it in this episode or I'll definitely forget. The only planes that fly out of Mistralton Airport are cargo planes. If traders want to fly, they can go with a Pokemon that knows to move fly. I do have one. So no worries about that. Can I get in the cargo plane, please? Because of this control tower, planes could fly relatively safely? Why did my brain go there? Planes can fly safely in the sky where there are no roads. From that, I take this lesson. If trainers lead Pokemon correctly, Pokemon will feel safe and fight well. Okay, we're drawing an analogy between air traffic controllers and Pokemon trainers. I kind of understand, but feels a little bit forced. And just to be clear, air travel is, for the most part, very, very safe. Hopefully you know that if you're watching this. Because I know a lot about planes, I can maintain them. Because I know a lot about Pokemon, I can be strong. I don't know why my brain went to relatively safe. Sweets, lovely sweetheart. Check feelings between two people. If you're a great match, you can get a sweet on sweetheart. Melting sweetheart. If you bring a lot of sweetheart pieces, we'll trade you for something happy. Is that where I get heart scales? I don't know what sweetheart is. And that spiel did nothing at all to clear it up. Sweet, melting, sweet, lovely, sweet, wonderful heart, sweetheart. Anyway. My dream was to become a pilot and fly away, far away. I still have that dream in my heart. Aww. Welcome to the Sky City. Take this as a keepsake. A sharp beak? Okay. I have a couple of flying types. One of them would actually be nerfed. It's flying type damage with a sharp beak. It's better off not holding an item. I can give a sharp beak to Steinbach, but I'm not going to right now. I want somebody to have the lucky egg. When you use the move Fly, you can return to a Pokemon Center you've already visited. But if Pokemon don't know their destinations, they cannot fly there. Makes sense? For the places that I cannot reach, I ask flying or psychic type Pokemon for help sometimes. I cannot even imagine everyday life without Pokemon. Okay, we're back to this. But hey, people and Pokemon working together to get stuff done. You love to see it. Hello! Deliver a lot of cargo quickly. This is the Mistralton Cargo Service. Of course, there's kind of a vibe here that it's like Pokemon are so helpful because they help business get done. Maybe that doesn't land with some people, but I mean, business matters. You gotta get business done, right? The only planes to fly out of Mistralton Airport are cargo planes. If trainers want to fly, oh, I already talked to this person. Whoops. Our slogan is quick and safe. That's a good slogan. I like strewn with windblown leaves is kind of nice too, but yeah, I like speed and safety. I'm all for those things. As long as you're not trading off the safety for the speed. It's dangerous to play at a landing strip, but you should be okay on ours. We only have one cargo flight a day. Alright. Yeah, quickly and safely. The quickly part is coming across more strongly this time so far. Hang out on the runway, it's fine. Skydrop TM. Not really interested in that. Look at this airplane, though. Planes, they're shapes. They are perfectly designed to fly. There's no excess in mechanics for flying. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Look at the plane. Look at the shape. It's a plane. That thing flies. It is actually really cool. I think planes are really cool. I know some people hate flying. Never been me. I used to really enjoy flying because there's just kind of like a sense of wonder to it. Like, whoa, we can do this? Now I've done it enough times that it's just routine to me. It's just like, oh yeah, okay, this is what I'm doing today. I'm taking a flight. I know my steps for that. I know the process. I'm not trying to disrespect anyone who hates flying. I just don't have that mindset. But yeah, now flying is just a thing that I do once in a while. But I used to be like, whoa, this is so cool when I did it. Some years ago now. Vegetables grown in a greenhouse are the best. The temperature and their nutrients are all managed systematically. Vegetables grown in a completely efficient way taste extra delicious. We're taking care of the environment here. We're using this land that we can't really do anything else with to grow some nice sustainable vegetables nicely and efficiently. We got some more vegetables over here. Heck yeah. What a nice city. Look at that airplane. Pokemon and people work together to open up desolate land. Whoa, Groudon mentioned. Whoa, Pokemon Omega Ruby mentioned, like, what, 3 years before it came out? Whoa. More, right? Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are what, like 2015 or 16? 5 or 6 years? Whoa, Omega Ruby mentioned. So early. Open up desolate land and make a place where everyone could live. I'm certain that this cooperative spirit will remain unchanged. Well, I don't know if you've seen these weird knight guys running around, but you know, you heard about, you know, they seem like they're really trying to win a PR battle. You know, they must be convincing someone. You know, they have this. They give these rousing speeches that seem to make sense. Anyway, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. All these greenhouses, they go all the way along here. Not on this side, but that's okay. Forest is valuable too. Look at this plane. I'm gonna yell into the back of the plane. Ah! I could get in this thing and fly, but I'm not allowed because it's a cargo plane. Skyla completed her cargo plane run. She must have gone somewhere after. Maybe to the Celestial Tower on Route 7? So first of all, I guess I can just hang out on the runway because the one flight of the day has already happened. But this guy, like, you have to imagine Skyla mentioned to him, hey, I saw this, I better check it out. But the way he words it is like, yeah, Skyla's not here. I don't know. Let me just guess. Maybe she conceivably could be at this one very specific place. I don't know, who's to say? I'm just guessing. Just pulling it out of my... But she probably just said, oh, I saw a Pokemon on the Celestial Tower. I gotta go. A high-flying girl. High-flying right out of the city before I can challenge her gym. Nothing for me to do, but move on to Route 7. I hear many people have had their Pokemon stolen by Team Plasma. No more thoughts on that? It's just a thing you've heard? I've heard it too. That raised walkway. If you stand still, you'll fall off, so you have to keep moving. Well, I'm not going up there just yet. I don't have an encounter on this route yet. Sometimes you find more than just strong Pokemon in the tall grass. Alright, what else are you finding? Items? Trainers? Whoa, trainers and items. That's crazy. I'm getting in a weird mood here. I'm kind of tired today. I think it's showing. I'm having fun, though. This is a pocket of the Unova region that I don't think about a whole lot, but it's a very pleasant one. For sure. I'm just gonna leave Moncton in front for now. I want an Archeops. That's probably a long way off, but I'll swap back to the front when I'm in the gym and hope that's enough against all those flying types. That Rock Tomb did not do as much as I hoped. Might immediately get a Pokemon of mine knocked out in the very first battle here. All those Chargestone Cave Trainers were a joke, and all of a sudden... I think I'm gonna miss if I use Rock Tomb, so Crunch it is. We do beat this Dwebble. That feels like it was harder than it should have been. I guess my team has a little bit of a bug weakness. When it's also paired with Rock, so I don't want to switch my Ducklet in. What do I do here? Honestly, let's give Churchill a go. Why not? I could have just switched to Moncton. I just thought I might be knocked into defeatist range by an attack immediately. This is just spamming Leer. I can slow it down with Icy Wind. Maybe I get 2 Icy Winds in a row. That's a nice animation. A lot of good move animations in this game. That Icy Wind looks like it means business. It's still faster, but it's still just spamming Leer. If you just click that same move forever, it's not any better than the Quick Guard spam. I miss an Icy Wind, though. It gets an opening for a Seed Bomb. No! Churchill, you almost had it. Alright, well, back to this. Strong! I will grow better and better by fighting Pokemon in the tall grass. Alright, cool story. Well, here's my encounter on my way back to the Pokemon Center. It's a Tranquil. That would have been interesting way earlier, like before Berg, but now? I'll try a Dragon Breath, see if I can weaken it for capture. Oh yeah, 2 Dragon Breaths should actually do it. Also a chance to paralyze. No para, but nice low HP. Might have to buy balls soon. I'm out of Great Balls, I didn't realize. I have 11 Ultra Balls though. I don't need to waste an Ultra Ball on this, let's throw a Heal Ball. I need to buy balls soon. I'm so used to not having to buy balls in Pokemon games, they just kind of throw them at you in the recent games. But maybe they'll continue to throw them at me in this one, I don't know, we'll see. Alright, and here's another Pokemon that can just hang around in the PC. Probably for the entire playthrough. Bit of a downside of failing the Nuzlocke so early, but I did decide not to bring it back. And because this goes way over the character limit, we're going to abbreviate it, but Prince Albert here can join his friends in the box. Second encounter on this route is a Strika. I already have one of those. Fine with not getting another one. Anyway, Churchill fainted, so let's deal with that. I am giving an awful lot of experience to Churchill, given that I think there's a real chance I'll drop it from the team for my Celestial Tower encounter. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. As one tends to do with the bridges of the Unova region. Guess I can use a Repel now while I continue to explore down here. An Ultra Ball, nice. That'll stave off having to buy balls a little bit longer. Oh! Oh? What? That's not a Pokemon, just an ordinary trainer. Okay. Palpitoad. Weird looking dude, not gonna lie. Looks like it might be able to take an Acrobatics, but not a Leaf Tornado. For a second, my brain went, is this the first Palpitoad of the playthrough? But of course not. It's, Play had one. Oops. I just went for a Grass-type attack, but I didn't pay attention to which... or Grass-type move, but I didn't pay attention to which one. I just clicked on green. Threw away a bit of HP there for nothing. No big deal. Got a decent chunk of it back. And there goes Palpitoad. How do I deal with this, though? This might be a first for this playthrough. Also, Gen 5, bigger, heftier Pokemon, kind of visibly disturbing the ground when they come in. Always a nice touch. I'll try Charlottetown. Obviously, Charlottetown is weak to Bug, but I can go to Moncton after if I need. What is that, Venoshock? I wasn't looking. That was a crit. I think it was Venoshock. Oh, this guy has 3 Pokemon. There's still another one after this. But if it spams Venoshock into a ground type, because apparently no NPC can figure out Crocorock's resistances, we take those. Sure, Protect Stall. Why not? NPCs love Protect Stall. That doesn't really accomplish anything. I guess stalling at my Rock Tomb PP isn't the worst thing, because if I miss a few of them, and you stall with Protect, then I could run out, but it's still pretty silly. Anyway. There goes Scolipede. What's the last Pokemon? This guy's actually pretty strong for a youngster. Oh, look at that! Charlottetown is trying to learn Dig naturally after having learned Dig by TM a while ago and then forgotten it. But now I've moved on from Dig. Shelmet? Alright, let's go to Steinbach. It's time Steinbach got a battle again, and Shelmet seems like a good target for it. This just goes for Protect. Of course, because that one failed, it can do it again. And of course, the reason Protect failed, if you know your VGC interactions, you know this one. Protect always fails if it's the last move of the turn. So if all 4 Pokemon in a VGC battle use Protect, the slowest one will fail. And that means that Pokemon is free to use Protect again with no chance of failure on the next turn. Anyway, Steinbach didn't actually get much experience, even with the Lucky Egg, because the experience is just split so many ways. What can you do? Oh, bold enough to come talk to me, are you? You're quite the trainer. I like you. Take this TM. Alright, Charge Beam. I give Charge Beam to Quebec. When a Pokemon uses Charge Beam, sometimes the special attack goes up. If you're lucky, the power will just keep going up. Yeah, the 90% accuracy can get frustrating, but Charge Beam is nice for snowballing sometimes. Here it is. Only Quebec can learn it, no surprise there. I think it's worth it over... it only has 10 PP. I don't want to get rid of Spark and have only Charge Beam for Stab, so I guess I'll drop Pursuit. Pursuit's really not that useful at this point. That's one of Zebstrika's big problems in a playthrough. It just doesn't give him any strong attacks. Kind of stuck with some weak ones. Or no coverage. Well, like, it kind of gets coverage or base power, but only one. I wanted to go to the Celestial Tower, but I got lost and stranded. Poor guy. And we're back to Monkey Spam. There was a Simisage earlier, now there's a Simisear. There's probably a Simipour somewhere on this route. This guy's only Pokemon is this Simisear. Not too worried about Fury Swipe's damage into my Rock type. Just need to land this Rock Tomb. Good. That almost KO'd. I can close this out with a Dragon Breath. Don't have to worry about that move missing, and it's plenty strong enough when the Simisear is at like 1 HP. Moncton is so strong now. And it's still probably far from evolving. Although I don't remember the level, of course. I never talked to this guy after I beat him. Have you heard that when tall grass waves in the breeze, a rare Pokemon jumps out? Oh, yeah, that's right. Audino and stuff. Grow better and better by fighting Pokemon in tall grass. I think you can find, like, Unpheasant and stuff here. Maybe Chinchino or something. There are some areas where you get some surprise, fully evolved Pokemon and that kind of stuff. Maybe even evolved monkeys. I think those appear somewhere. Maybe it's not. It's probably not here. Kid, have you caught any Boldore? I actually have. Would you trade your Boldore for my Emolga? I honestly would consider it. I see. Well, come talk to me again if you change your mind. Actually, what if I say yes? Yeah, it has to be on my party. This is too early a generation to just pull it from the PC. Come talk to me again if you change your mind. I would would I train Emolga instead of Zebstrika? Maybe. I do already have 2 flying types on my team, though. But Emolga sure is cute. And an in-game trade is a fun little revisited thing to try out. I love the Pokemon moves Mega Drain and Giga Drain. Your opponent's HP is reduced and the user's HP increases. I'll tell you what, if I catch a second Boldore, I'm definitely trading it to this guy. If that's my Twist Mountain encounter or something. My only Boldore right now? Probably not. I'm a little bit attached to it, even though it's been off the team for a while. Now, my Repel wore off, and I don't want to use another one immediately just for this. Oh, well, no, whatever will I do? Yeah, gotta love those little bridges where if you stand still too long, you tumble off, but they're not too hard to navigate. And it's time for the second rotation battle of the playthrough. Rotation battles are new Pokemon battles in which the positions always change. This guy will overpower me while I am confused. Of course, I previously battled Charles in a rotation battle. I guess this Ace Trainer doesn't know that. Elmer here doesn't know that. Charles was really easy to deal with, though, because he never actually rotated his Pokemon. Let's see if Elmer has a better idea. I only really thought about my lead and not my other Pokemon, so I get Moncton, Charlottetown, and Steinbach. Moncton, I have been intentionally leading. The other 2 just happen to be in those first 2 slots. Who's taking an Acrobatics? Let's see it. Rotates Watchog in? I think that's probably the worst option. Oh, it does take it, though, actually. My bad. Sorry, Watchog, I wasn't familiar with your game, but here comes another one. Liepard rotates back in. I don't think it can fake out now. Oh, it actually can. Alright, it preserves the right to fake out after rotating out and back in. That's good to know. We're in Defeatist range now. I was just about to go for Acrobatics again anyway, but let's actually give Charlottetown some run here. Liepard resists Crunch, but Swoobat is immune to Bulldoze, so I'm just going to Crunch anyway. It should still do a fair bit to Liepard. They're actually going to bring the Watchog in. It's too bad I don't have Moxie on Charlottetown, because sniping this easy KO... Never mind, we don't snipe the easy KO. Charlottetown gets knocked out. Alright, you know what? This is a tougher rotation battle than the last one. I will give Elmer that. And I will go Quebec. One thing Zebstrika does have going for it, I've been dumping out a lot, it's kind of a weak Pokemon from about this point in the game on. It is fast. It should outspeed and hopefully get a boost with this Charge Beam here. Swoobat rotating in, still too slow. I was looking to knock out the Watchog and get the boost, but instead we'll do a bunch of damage to Swoobat. We will get the boost. Swoobat goes for Amnesia. I think that is too little too late, my friend. +2 special defense, but you're not taking a Charge Beam anymore. Nor is Watchog. Just need to land the attack, and we do. Listen to that Charge Beam sound effect. We get another boost, +2 already. 2 for 2 on getting Charge Beam boosts. Liepard rotating in. Here comes a +2 Charge Beam. It is Swoobat. It connects. Do we get a 3rd consecutive boost? We do. Let's see this Liepard take a +3 Charge Beam now. I've been talking up Arcan and Krokorok, talking down Zebstrika. I'll delete Feather Dance for Roost. But actually, Zebstrika was just what I needed in this battle. As, yeah. Krokorok was a little too slow. Arcan not quite hitting hard enough anymore. Noticeable jump in the quality of opponents after Chargestone Cave to what was in there. Those Team Plasma grunts really don't have much to be proud of. But Charge Beam snowballing with the TM I just got is just the thing in this rotation battle. 4 for 4 on the boosts, but no need for +4 as the battle is over. A lot of the team kind of settling in around level 30 now. Vanillite evolves twice. Gen 5 is nuts. Vanillite evolves twice. And it's just, it looks like a cute little baby creature. But my Vanillite is at level 30 and still not evolving. Gen 5 is something else. The balance of 3 Pokemon, each with its own role. I still have to do more research. I'm going to go back to the Pokemon Center. Because somebody fainted there. And I'm just going to navigate that bridge and avoid the grass. No need to fly when it's such a short little run. Right. Charge Beam could really come in handy against Skyla. I think I will lead. I think I'll lead Quebec against the gym trainers and try to just power through them with Spark and save my Charge Beam PP. So that hopefully I don't have to go back and heal before battling Skyla. Although if I do have to, that's no big deal. Anyway. Oh, a Pokedex. I see. That is the reason for your journey. Chino? Okay. Cute. Probably not strong enough to take an acrobatics. That's kind of the lens through which all NPCs are judged at this point. Do they take an acrobatics? This one doesn't. That was her only Pokemon. GG. Impressive. That's what you'd expect from the owner of a Pokedex. I've heard that both Professor Junipers. It should be Professors Juniper, shouldn't it? I've heard that both Professors Juniper. Yeah, absolutely, because it would be, you know, the brothers Juniper if they were brothers. I know one of them is a woman, but bear with me. Not often you see something. Not often you see. I think this is a grammatical error. Not often you see that in a Pokemon localization. I'm gonna be that annoying guy and call it out because it's a rare find. I've heard that both Professors Juniper were backpackers when they were young. Of course, it is authentic to how a lot of people speak, so maybe I'm making a big thing of nothing. I didn't read that. Even in this playthrough, reading trainer tips is a little much for me. I'll show you our style. What Pokemon in nature are in harmony? Professor Junipers. A lot of people would say that, though, probably, right? And you know what? I've bashed this game for a lot of dialogue that doesn't really read like human speech to me. Kind of a robot. Kind of reads like a robot. Maybe I should give them a pass for this one, given that I've said that other thing so many times. Anyway, this doesn't take an acrobatics, but maybe it'll protect on the first one. Where was the camera going? I looked away to sound off about nonsense, and I came back and the camera just kind of moved away from the Pokemon. Here's the Simipour that I knew was coming up sooner or later. Let's try to Quebec through this. Go for a Charge Beam boost. Ooh, Scald. Ooh, Scald. They're starting to use Scald. Oh my god, that did so much and it burned. And that's why competitive players complained about Scald for so long. I think that's a Gen 5 move, right? I don't think it existed before this generation. And certainly, I mean, I don't really have an issue with Scald, but it's certainly a controversial one with a lot of people. I'm not really the type to have an issue with something like that. I'm always just like, well, not always. There are things I have issues with, but most of the time I'm the type to just be like, well, that's how it is. It's part of the game now. We'll deal with it. It's fine. Maybe that's part of why I never get hacked as a Smogon player, because a lot of their metagame balance philosophy is just not of much interest to me. If I were in charge, I would have a much more... I mean, I don't... I think it's fair to say that I don't really know what I'm talking about, because I was never a good Smogon player, but my attitude toward banning things tends toward banning a lot fewer things than they, I mean, ever have from like Gen 3 on even. Although Gen 3 metagames were established by the time I was playing. Gen 4 was my first time experiencing a new generation through a competitive lens. Anyway, I don't know why I talked about all that. Wasn't really prepared to. We'll drop Leaf Tornado for Leaf Blade. Nice consistent stab attack. Oh, right. I was saying I never really had a problem with Scald. For me, it's just a new move that does some new stuff that we just have to deal with. And it's fine. Not the end of the world. But there's a reason that move was controversial among a lot of players for a long time. And in competitive terms, it's partly that it's super effective into fire types and has a burn chance, so you can't use the fire type burn immunity to deal with it, and the burn chance is as high as it is at 30%. We kind of got a little bit of a luck there. Obviously, I don't have a fire type to switch in anyway, but that did a lot of damage to my Zebstrika and then burned it. And if I still had a physical-only Zebstrika, wouldn't have much to hit the Simipour with from there. As it is, the Simipour still won that exchange. I don't know. I've been rambling. Really, I could just say, oh, Scald, that's a Gen 5 move, isn't it? Certainly one of the more memorable and interesting Gen 5 moves. And now it has made an appearance here. That is the take now. Scald sure is something, and now we have seen it in action. It takes 20 or even 30 years for a tree to be fully grown. Will you have a Pokemon battle that pleases the trees? What, are they going to grow better? Sure. Solosis, okay. We're out of monkeys for this route, so this guy's other Pokemon is probably not a monkey, but you never know. Goodbye. You got a monkey? We started the cycle of monkeys again already? Axew. Okay. I don't know if I've seen an Axew before in this playthrough. Of course, they're found in Mistralton Cave, so I have passed by that area already, but I can't go into the cave because I don't have Surf. I'm not a big Axew fan, but I could train one if I catch one. I'm open to it. But that's the next episode question. A tree gave this guy a berry. I don't remember what that particular berry does. Defrosts. No wonder I don't really have any memory of using it often. Freeze being such a relatively rare status condition. Now, obviously, I could continue this way on the route, but given that the Celestial Tower is right here, I don't think there's ever been a playthrough where I actually did that instead of just stopping at the tower for now. This feels like kind of a natural break point in the route, and then I can go do the rest of it after the gym. And so that's how I'm going to play it now, too. We'll do the rest of the route next episode. I could use a repel to get through this grass, but then I'm going to want an encounter in the tower, so might as well just deal with whatever we run into here. 2 already before I get to the item isn't great, though. I will say the wild Pokemon are, I shouldn't say feeling kind of samey, especially after Chargestone Cave was such a unique environment just a little bit ago. But there's a lot of overlap between these wild Pokemon and the previous route, and I can't think of anything that makes the previous route, I mean, not Chargestone Cave, but like Route 6. I can't really think of anything that makes Route 7 specifically stand out in terms of its encounter table. Not that every route necessarily needs that, but it's nice. It's always nice when there's something. Route 6 was the Deerling Zone, and it just had a lot of flavor to it with the season research and the stream, little surf spots built in. This route's a little bit boring to me, even with the bridges. Of course, we'll be back here in the post-game to get Tornadus moving, but that's quite a ways off. Anyway, time to go into a place of rest for innocent spirits and try not to disturb it too much with our inevitable Pokemon battles, because that's just what you do everywhere in this world, because when trainers' eyes meet, they have to battle. This is Celestial Tower, where Pokemon are laid to rest. They say that when you ring the bell on top of this tower, it pleases the resting spirits. Now, I don't think you can get any encounters on this first floor. Nice little spiral staircase, again, messing around with perspective, as Pokemon is not quite in the 3DS era, but about to go there. And probably get the encounter on this floor. I think it has to be either Litwick or Elgyem, but we'll see which one it is. I'm rooting for Litwick. I really like Chandelure, and I don't have a fire type on this team right now. I would like to train a Litwick, but let's see. Well, we'll battle this trainer first. Indescribable energy is flowing to me. That's a little bit worrisome. Especially in a place like this, indescribable energy. You might be possessed like those channelers in the Pokemon Tower in Lavender Town. But I think what you're really going for is you're full of indescribable energy that will help you in battle, which is kind of worrisome from my perspective. Let's see if it helps your LGM take in acrobatics. No. Well, what else you got? Solosis? I don't think that takes in acrobatics. Acrobatics Arcan is really feeling like a cheat code right now. Obviously, it can't solo everything by itself, but it's soloing a lot. And that's with a teammate carrying the experience share the whole way. Churchill's learning Acid Armor. I'll go ahead and drop Taunt for that. Churchill's move list is kind of fun to look at now. It's this little cute little ice cream guy, and just going off the types, you've got normal, ice, poison, steel. I'll give Vanillite this. Its learn set is not boring. Anyway, I could Rock Tomb the Sigilith, but I don't know. I feel like I'll miss and then get blasted out of here by a Psybeam. How does Light Screen? I could have just Rock Tombed it, but now I'll just go for Spark. Nice 2-hit KO, nice para. Nice full para, let's go. So much for the Sigilith being a threat. I think I said indescribable energy, not that there's a lot of it or that it's especially powerful. Wasn't enough to deal with the para, I guess. Oh, sorry, this is a woman, my bad. Maybe it's the electrical energy seeping out of Chargestone Cave and that helped me paralyze the Sigilith. Maybe we're in another electrically charged environment here, but I suspect not. A lot of energies are swirling around in the world, including hopes and dreams. Yep, especially in this region. Meow, meow, meow? This side means a battle with me? Excuse me? What am I being brought into here? Yearling doesn't meow. Surely. Surely it doesn't. It doesn't look even a little bit like a cat. Nor does it take an acrobatics like one. There are some cat Pokemon that would take that no problem. Gothita? What are we doing here? GG. Thank you for having a battle with me. Alright, what was that about? Meow, meow, meow. I am copying the Pokemon I used to live with. I should have known. This is a resting place for dead Pokemon. I shouldn't have made fun of her. She had a Purloin or something. Sorry. Anyway. Wild encounter. It's Litwick. If I catch this, I am down to immediately go get it from the PC, and sorry, Churchill, drop you from the team. No disrespect intended, but I like Chandelure so much more than Vanillux. And this team is noticeably lacking a fire type. Yes, I just switched my grass type in on the Flame Burst. I'm going for the Leech Seed play. You know what? Toronto might even get knocked out, and then I can go Quebec and paralyze this thing. And that is okay with me. I'm going to the Pokemon Center right after this anyway because I want to use the PC. Let's just go ahead and throw an Ultra Ball. This is worth it. Heck yeah, this team is coming together nicely. Imagine Serperior, Crocodile, Archeops, Chandelure, maybe a Zebstrika, we'll see. A water type, not necessarily Swanna, but that's the way it's going right now. That's a solid team. Also might be the first player in Pokemon history to name their Litwick Moosejaw. We'll get used to that together. Didn't bother with Repel because I don't have far to go to get outside. down the spiral staircase. I'll go ahead and fly to the city. I've traveled some distance. We'll go back over the bridges to take the experience share right now, so don't forget. We'll go back over the bridges to get back to the tower. The bridges are kind of cool, but I don't have to run over them every single time. I have fly now. I could have flown to any city. But I guess this one is nice for the checkpoint, because I will use the Pokemon Center while I'm here. But you know, the region's so opened up now, I could go back to Castelia City. Heal my team, grab my Litwick, and... well, then I guess I'd have to fly back here. That would actually be pretty inefficient. Anyway. Goodbye, Churchill, the Vanillite. You never really got a chance to prove yourself, but you were kind of nice to have around for a little while. Hello, Moosejaw the Litwick, level 28 with Flame Body. We're going to burn some things over the course of this playthrough, no doubt. Also got Will-O-Wisp, lots of opportunity to burn things. Will-O-Wisp, Imprison, Flame Burst, Imprison, and Hex. Really strong start. I will check what TMs I have. Let's first give you the experience share while I remember. Moosejaw is probably going to be carrying the experience share for a little while. Although it's not that far behind some of the rest of the team. But a little bit behind some of them. All of them. I think like 1 or 2 levels behind Steinbach. Yeah, 2. Only one not in the 30s yet. I don't think very many of these TMs will be of interest to a Litwick. Let's see if it can learn Echoed Voice. I don't think I want to teach it, I'm just curious. I guess I would take it over in prison. Nope. What on earth learns Echoed Voice in this game? It's a real mystery at this point. I'll probably want to teach Flash to something next episode when I go to the cave. Because it is a dark cave. Litwick might be able to learn Grass Knot. Nope. Crocorock can, of all things. Okay, no interesting TMs. That's fine, we'll just keep him in prison for now. Probably never do anything with it, but not in a huge rush to get rid of it. Flame Burst, Hex, and Will-O-Wisp is a really strong start. I don't know where to get a Dusk Stone. Maybe I have one already and I've forgotten. Actually, I think there might be one in, like, Dragon Spiral Tower or something. I can look it up when I have a Lampent. I'm not too bothered about it right now. I mean, I'll find one eventually anyway, because I'm just exploring that much in this playthrough. But I guess it won't hurt to look it up when I feel like it. No rush. Can repel through the rest of this. I battled 2 of these trainers, but not this one yet. Looks like I was only 1 step away from initiating the battle. When Pokemon trainers meet, what we do is, of course, engage in a Pokemon battle, don't we? It's like a really needlessly comma-heavy version of when trainers' eyes meet, they have to battle. Good job, Jude. Alright, let's Charge Beam this squirrel. Try to get some boosts. Avoid dealing with any paralysis or electric type damage coming back. You get Lightning Rod boosts if they go for that. They do go for that. We get a Lightning Rod boost immediately. This is going to be a +1 Charge Beam coming out with a chance to also boost. Yeah, we just keep getting boosts so far. Let's go for another one. I could Spark here, but save PP. But actually, if it has Static, this is Gen 5. Electric types can be paralyzed. Didn't get a boost that time. Streak broken. But we can still throw a +2 Charge Beam at this Herdier now. Ooh, doesn't quite KO. And it roars. It gets rid of my boost. Oh no, that was a +3. Oh no, Charlottetown, do you think you can handle this? I know you didn't expect to have to deal with this, but you feel like you're up to it? I mean, you think you're ready? You feel like, ooh, Hyper Potion. Whoa. Good thing I didn't go for Mud Slap. But I didn't go for my strongest attack either. Charlottetown, you think you can do better than that Bulldoze? You think you have something? You have Crunch? And he probably went for Crunch too, because they all do that against Crocorock for some reason, because I swear this game's NPCs cannot keep track of Crocorock's resistances at all, but yeah. Lost my +3 Charge Beam, but that's okay, didn't need it there. One more trainer on this floor. Oh, you want to have a battle with me? Alright, I have a strong Pokemon. It's kind of odd how much I mean, when trainers' eyes meet, I guess they have no choice, but you know, the possessed channelers in the Pokemon Tower are one thing. They're being compelled by ghosts to battle, but it is kind of odd that in this solemn and fairly confined place in Unova, people are just hanging out and battling. Especially when we saw what a battle could do to my bedroom at the very beginning of the game. I guess maybe if it's not your literal first battle, you have a better handle on how to avoid damage, but man, this is Pokemon. There are some crazy moves flying around. Pokemon is no longer with me. That's not true. As long as I remember, it will be with me forever. It's also kind of a weird vibe with some of these people clearly here to grieve, but also happily participating in battles. I mean, I guess there's something nice about that, right? They don't have to be all grim and somber just because they're in mourning, and some of them have probably been grieving these Pokemon for a long time. But this is already, you know, this is a solemn place, and a place that's important to respect, and also kind of cramped, just because of the shape of the tower. It is a weird place for trainers to just be hanging out, having battles that you'd think would be a serious risk to damage the place, without the justification of them being possessed like in the Pokemon Tower. Unless they are possessed, unless that's what that indescribable energy was, but I don't think so. Or Spiral Stare. We start getting more consistently just psychics who clearly have been drawn in by the energy of this place and aren't just Poke fans. Poke maniacs? And lasses. Either touring around or grieving. Mourning? Mourning. I will guess what you are. You are a Pokemon trainer. That's right, and our eyes met. You know what that means, even in a place like this. This can probably take an acrobatics. But we'll find out. We'll test it. Yeah, it took it reasonably well, actually, but I think another one should still KO. Might be a roll. Oh, defeatist range. Oh, never mind. Goodbye, Musharna. We will not be finishing this 1v1. Hey, that is a Pokemon that doesn't resist flying or have a super effective stab getting the better of my Arcan. It can still happen. Arcan does feel like a cheat code through a lot of this part of the game, though. Wow. Acrobatic spam is more often than not just completely clean these routes out. Or, I shouldn't say that, but more often than not beaten whatever NPCs get in my way. Everyone can make the effort to understand their opponent. You looked at me and said, you are a Pokemon trainer, and that's it? You understand me now? Okay. Alright. I'll make a switch for now while Defeatist is on the table. But please, this Sleeping Spirits is a hot Pokemon battle. Oh, is that the justification for why we battle here? You know, there is something nice about it, right? I mean, if the Psychic says so, maybe it's true, and there is something nice about it, that we sort of bring the energy of the living, kind of the activity that makes a lot of the people in this universe feel the most alive, to stir things up a little bit in the sleepy space of the dead. There is something really pleasant about that. I just feel like the graves would be demolished over time in this space, you know? But, you know, maybe that's just part of the vibe here. Like, we accept that risk because it's worth it for celebrating life and pleasing the spirits in so doing. It feels a little weird at face value, especially now that I'm thinking critically about it for, honestly, the first time ever right now. We'll talk to some more of... I can't charge beam this. It's a ground type. We'll talk to some more of these psychics, and maybe they'll paint a picture where this is actually a really neat little bit of the culture of this region, and it's just kind of accepted. Maybe stuff gets damaged sometimes. We'll fix it. But the spirits appreciate it more than us being all grim about their resting place all the time. Maybe. This definitely is no guard, huh? Landing every dynamic punch and mega punch. Pop, 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 pop. Need another one of those. Come Come on, Steinbach. I know I haven't trained you much, but you can do this. Pop, 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 pop. GG. Good job, Steinbach. Oh, the Lucky Egg is on Steinbach. Did I say earlier that it was on Quebec? I'm starting to get mixed up with all these items. When I come here at Celestial Towers, strangely, I feel the urge to fight. Does that prove I am alive? Yeah, maybe that's the indescribable energy of the spirits. You know what? I'm convinced this is what they want. And it makes sense. It brings some life to a sleepy, dead place. And I guess if the graves get damaged, which you haven't actually seen, it just feels like it surely would. It's okay. They can be restored. It's worth it. Alright, I came in here saying this is really weird, but I'm convinced now. It's actually nice world building, if that's what they intended. I don't know if Game Freak really thought about that at all, but some of the psychics are kind of gesturing at it. Even if it's only accidentally implied and not what they meant, it's still nice world building, right? It's still nice world building if you stumble into it by accident, surely. It's a real look into part of the value of battling and the culture of the Pokemon world. From a different angle from the usual ones that are put in our faces all the time. You know what? Yeah, I like it. That's what we're landing on here. I'm here to understand the end of the world, but I don't quite get it. If I have a battle, will I be enlightened? Don't know what this person's talking about, but maybe we'll get some more insight. Duosion. I would ask if that takes an acrobatics, but we're hiding from that right now because defeatist. I know it'll take a charge beam, but this ought to do some damage. And if Quebec goes down, I can go Charlottetown and crush this thing. Quebec, I should do that anyway and let Quebec have some of the experience. That charge beam was silly. Recover? That's fine. Crush one-shots. Now tell me about the end of the world. Quebec levels up. Learning Stomp is actually kind of valuable here because it's a nice mid-power move when Substrika doesn't get a lot of those. That said, it's only 15 more base power than Flame Charge, and it doesn't have that fire coverage or speed boosting effect. I could drop Thunder Wave. I'm actually down to drop Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave is useful utility, but I think the neutral coverage from Stomp is more valuable at this point. Might make it a little bit harder to catch some Pokemon later, but I have a really nice team coming together already, thanks to this not being a Nuzlocke anymore. If I never catch another Pokemon again in this playthrough, I'll be disappointed, but ultimately fine. Spell Tag. That could be nice on Moose Jaw at some point. A Nurse at just the right time as my Pokemon are getting kind of weak and defeatist and burned. You need a Nurse's help? I sure do. If I can win against you, I'll make your Pokemon healthy. You got it. Rathita. Let's Charge Beam it. Because Quebec isn't about to level up, I'm not as worried about Quebec being knocked out this time. Plus, of course, my Pokemon are about to be healed anyway. Although at that point I'll move Moncton back to the front. This is a 2-hit KO. Just don't knock me out here. Future Sight. That doesn't knock me out here. Just land the Charge Beam. Nice. Don't think I've missed a Charge Beam yet. I have failed sometimes to get the boost, but mostly I've had good Charge Beam luck so far. There's another boost. Didn't check whether I dropped a burn damage. Might not matter. Yeah. That's fine. I think she might have an Alomomola. I don't know why I think that. Is this a memorable battle? Who's to say? But I'll go Toronto. If it's just another Psychic type, which actually feels more likely, I just thought I might remember an Alomomola, and sure enough, if it were just another Psychic type, I might have preferred Charlottetown. I forgot that I don't Leaf Tornado anymore. Here comes Toronto's first Leaf Blade. Into a Protect, of course. NPCs love spamming Protect when it accomplishes nothing. Here comes Toronto's first successfully executed Leaf Blade. Decent animation. Gen 3 Leaf Blade has always been my favorite. If you're not familiar with that one, it's worth checking out. Maybe I'll play Gen 3 on the channel again sometime after the Randomizer Nuzlocke this year failed in the very first episode. But yeah. Peak Leaf Blade animation is Gen 3 in my opinion, but later gens are nice too. Come on, your team is really healthy. Is she saying, like, why do you need to be healed when you're already so strong you can beat me in battle? Fair enough. But still, deal's a deal. Time to give my Pokemon some energy. Here we go. Wonderful that Pokemon in each Pokemon in each person can do something special. Hey, she's also putting Pokemon first in how she words that, like Anne. And unlike what I kept automatically doing. Go figure, a nurse who devotes herself to caring for Pokemon cares about Pokemon and prioritizes them. It's not to say that I don't care about Pokemon just because I default to saying people first, but it is a little bit of an interesting quirk there, right? That I was even misreading N's dialogue because my brain was doing that so automatically. And this nurse puts Pokemon first in her wording too. I'm not saying it's a huge deal or anything, but you could call it a little bit of insight into some of these characters. Even this practically non-character who's mostly just here to be a healing bot. I don't think I talked to End of the World guy after we battled, did I? People, Pokemon, even if the world is gone, that is not the end. I feel sure of it. Okay, I don't know what that means, but he doesn't either, so it's fine. More stairs. Ace Trainer's up here. Thought I could sneak past this one, but I was going to battle her anyway, of course. I just thought I could get the item first. Pokemon that grow up in Unova and Pokemon that grow up elsewhere both rest here quietly. Hey, Ace Trainers ought to give the spirits some really good battles to watch, or just take in the energy of, right? Swoobat. That might take an acrobatics, but I'm going to go for Rock Tomb anyway. Amnesia? Not the play here. If I land this, you take a lot of damage and get your speed dropped. I'll probably go first next turn. Never mind, there's no next turn. These NPCs, even these Ace Trainers don't know what a cheat code in Arcan is. Trying to learn Crunch, I'll drop Dragon Breath for that. Go back to an all-physical moveset. Dragon Breath was nice while it lasted. But it's not really a long-term keep. And we can crunch this Gothorita immediately, how about that? Perfect timing. This could maybe take an acrobatics, I think it's plausible, but not a crunch. And Arcan still just feels like a cheat code right now. Pokemon are full of life. Imagine if I had a Tortuga. Be a very different vibe. Pokemon that grew up in Unova and Pokemon that grew up elsewhere. All are precious Pokemon. That's right, you tell them. Shadow Claw? Is there anybody on my team that wants Shadow Claw? Moncton doesn't care, it already knows Crunch. Charlottetown doesn't care, it already knows Crunch and has Stab on that. I don't think Ducklet can learn Shadow Claw. I don't think Litwick can learn Shadow Claw in any way. It already has Hex and is a special attacker. I don't think Substrika can learn Shadow Claw. I don't think Superior can learn Shadow Claw. Shadow Claw is a nice mid-game TM. A lot of the time. I actually do prefer what they did in X and Y, putting it earlier in the game, because it is... It's not amazing on every Pokemon. It's still nice to get here sometimes, but it's not useful to this team. And the really crazy thing, speaking of Scald, the really crazy thing is how early you get Scald in Sun and Moon. They fixed it in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but if you haven't played original Sun and Moon, Scald is at the second trial location. It's pretty early in the game, and you can just spam it all the rest of the way through. Like this game, that one has reusable TMs. I don't know why they did that. That's a little bit much. I like Shadow Claw being early in X and Y. Early Scald and Sun and Moon. I mean, I use it every time because it's so broken, but I don't know why they did that. And they did not keep it in the Ultra games. Anyway, it's way later in those ones. Don't remember where, but a lot later. Celestial Tower means a perfect tower. Oh, never mind. Let's have a Pokemon battle. What? Never mind? Tell me what you're thinking. I want to learn the lore of the region and how people feel about living in it. What do you mean? How are you going to drop Celestial Tower as a perfect tower? I have no idea what you're getting at with that. And then go, oh, never mind. Anyway, this could probably take an acrobatics. But you know what? We're going to test it. Oh, it's faster. It has Ice Fang. Knocks me in a defeatist range. It was taking acrobatics anyway. That only did like a quarter with defeatist. Let's see if we can burn it. This is actually really scary. Wait. This is probably the last trainer of the tower. I think this is the first Stoutland of the playthrough. It's his only Pokemon. Good thing. It is a menace. This is actually really scary. This is a serious opponent here. Even my cheat code Archon just got destroyed by this. Let's get Intimidate. Still be weak to that Ice Fang. Of course, my Pokemon might be a little bit higher leveled if I hadn't fed a bunch of experience to a Vanillite and then immediately dropped it from my team. Well, I don't know what I mean by immediately. It was on the team for a little while, but fed a bunch of experience and then dropped it from the team. But this is the kind of playthrough for that. Dodging a takedown, we take those. Obviously, by 6 Pokemon, we're going to power through this one regardless. Ooh, Charlottetown holding gets flinched. Charlottetown almost clutched it up there, but... Wait, my experience share Pokemon is knocked out. Is no one getting experience from the Stoutland? Okay, no, it had more than 1 HP. I didn't even see the HP bar move. But it's not done yet. Let's try to give the experience to Quebec. I want to leave Quebec in the gym. Yeah, obviously my 6 Pokemon are going to beat this. But this Stoutland is all of a sudden no joke at the end of the area. Since I think this is the last battle, I won't go back to the nurse until after. Unless I'm wrong and there's another floor to this that I forgot about. You're really perfect. I don't know about that one. But finally an ace trainer that I actually had to take kind of seriously, huh? And he only had 1 Pokemon. Imagine if he had more than 1. This guy could be a threat. This guy could be contending over at the league. I am far from perfect. Yeah, but you're no joke, buddy. You're doing well. All right, up the stairs. I think just one more time. Yeah, no more battles, so I'll just go to the nurse after. I think you can still encounter wild Pokemon here on top of the tower. More importantly, look at those clouds. Or so I will use a repel up here if it wears off. Okay, actually I'm getting a little bit mesmerized by them. Like I said, I'm kind of tired. Get this angle too. The side. How tall is this tower? This tower looks way bigger from up here than it does from down below, outside. Actually, the scale of it feels a little bit weird, because it looked like it felt from outside like it got pretty small toward the top. But not so. Oh, you came. Thank you. I was right. What I saw was a hurt Pokemon. Don't worry, though. It's fine now. I gave it a max revive, then it felt better and flew away. Skyla stepping up. A max revive is... You know, that's again, a serious... I mean, apparently everybody's duplicating their items in this region anyway, but that is a serious item to use on a wild Pokemon in need. But that's what gym leaders do in this region. They step up. That's what Team Plasma. Some of Team Plasma don't care, but that's what Ed doesn't understand yet. Hee hee! Don't I have great eyesight? No matter how far away things are, a pilot's eyes can see them. Oh, that's right. Since you've come this far, why don't you ring the bell? Celestial Tower's bell is for soothing the spirits of Pokemon. Also, the character of the person ringing the bell is reflected in its sound. Alright, let's see. What kind of character do you think I have? Come on, don't be shy. What if I have a shy character? Anyway, I don't. Well, for our purposes here, I don't. Sound of the bell reverberates through the area. What a pretty sound. Black, you are a kind and strong person. It's that kind of sound. I'd like to introduce myself again. I'm Skyla, the leader of Mistralton's Pokemon Gym. I use Flying-type Pokemon. When you are ready, please come to the gym. I'll give you a big welcome. Now, I watched a video essay that criticized this moment because in a Pokemon game that raises tougher moral questions than usual, and with more nuance than usual, I think it's been a little while. I might not remember exactly the argument, but I think the video essayist didn't like that. It felt like some nuance was removed by having a bell that having a bell ring that tells you you are a good person. I think that's a fair criticism. I don't really have a problem with it. I will say, I was paying close attention to Skyla's dialogue there. She said that I'm kind and strong. A lot of people can be kind and strong and still misguided, right? I mean, that's how N's character is pretty much meant to be understood. He's kind and he's strong and he does things that I think most Pokemon players would agree are not the right way to go. So I don't think... Yeah, I don't know that the bell... Having played this moment again just now, I don't know that the bell moment really takes away from that much from the nuance of the story. If you see it that way, I'm not gonna die on this hill. If you see it that way, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't know. The bell, according to Skyla, the bell told me that I'm a decent person, but decent people trying their best make mistakes and are wrong about things. The bell didn't tell me you have totally the right idea about the relationship between people and Pokemon. Now you could say, N argues that Pokemon training is inherently wrong and abusive, and so a person who devotes their life to that, if N were right, the bell would surely not approve of. Again, that's kind of fair. Honestly, as I talk through this, my opinion of how I feel about that criticism is kind of going up and down. I think where I'm landing is I'm not completely on board, but I understand where it comes from, and they have a point, and yeah, maybe they are right. But I'm not completely sold. Because again, I mean, these games are in large part about thinking beyond more than just black and white morality, and how different viewpoints and value systems can come together and complement each other, right down to the designs of the legendary dragons, which are black and white, and in their origin story were created to oppose each other, but really work better when they complement each other, hence the fusion moves that they have. These are games that celebrate that people are different and have different points of view and different value systems, but suggest that instead of being drawn into conflict by our different value systems, we should learn to live together in harmony, respecting each other's views, but also helping each other out where we can, and we build something better by doing that. And I don't think any of that message is really stripped away by the bell moment. If you want to seriously entertain the idea that N is right, okay. That is a little bit hard to square with this bell moment, with the spirits of Pokemon seeming to agree that this Pokemon trainer who devotes their life to the activity of Pokemon training and battling is kind and strong. But I think the message of the game is more about, you know, being kind and strong, but also accepting other viewpoints and how they can complement each other. N is kind and strong. I think N would get a favorable sound from this bell, and is going to be viewed favorably by one of the legendary dragons that appear to side with heroes. And we still are, you know, you can have your own opinion, but I think the intended opinion that we're supposed to come away from is still that N's view on things is wrong, and he will come to think that, and he'll change his view. So I think a lot of the nuance of the story is still intact here. Do I think that the bell moment adds anything? Well, I mean, sending me along this train of thought is something, right? I mean, if you look at it as just, oh, the bell says that you're the good guy, that means you're right and N is wrong. You know, maybe it's in the eye of the beholder, right? If that's your interpretation, then I think you do lose something about this story. Because again, I think N would get a very nice sound from this bell too. But I don't know, maybe the game telling you that the energy of the spirits of this place thinks that you're on decent footing as a person, even as you still then continue to have to grapple with moral questions after that, because decent people can still face tough decisions and tough questions about how to live well. I don't know. Maybe it's good to have that baseline to work from as you think through the rest of the story. I don't know if I'm not sure I'm coming out of this really convinced that it adds anything, but maybe I'm missing something. Let me know in the comments if you think that the bell adds something really valuable to the story. Because I'm giving sort of kind of a defense right now where I say, well, I don't think it really detracts that much, but maybe it kind of does. But I kind of don't think that much, but if you do think it detracts that much, I kind of get it. I'm not doing as well right now on what it adds that makes it worth having despite the criticism. Maybe somebody can let me know in the comments what that is. Fill in the gaps for me. Anyway. Listen to it one more time. Acknowledge again that it would sound at least that good for N too. Because the morality of this game is not just about being kind and strong. And it's about, in large part, about different kinds of kind and strong people, recognizing that in each other, building on each other's strengths and covering each other's weaknesses. Like Gresham and Zekrom. I said I would go back to that nurse, but I might actually be able to fly from up here. Yeah, I can. All that's left is to challenge the gym. My voice is getting a little tired, getting a little sniffly. But we're almost at the end here. Time for the cannons! Cannons! Whee! Like that kid said. Cannons! Let's go! I do enjoy the cannons. They're so ridiculous, but they're fun. Also, my bad if I butchered any of that video essayist points. It's been a while since I watched it. I might be forgetting some nuance in what they said. And I want to acknowledge that that's a possibility instead of, you know, never want to I didn't come in here planning to talk about that. It just came to mind, as things often do in this series, when I was at the bell. I don't want to say that I've definitively answered everything they said, because I'm sure I have forgotten some things. Anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. I have moved Quebec to the front of the party. I'm double checking that I actually did that. I did. There's no dude here standing here anymore. This is a nice outer design for a gym, looking like a hangar here. There's going to be one weird hangar when we go inside. I do appreciate the outside of the gym, though. They did a good job with that. Might as well talk to the freshwater guy. I haven't been consistently doing that, but I might as well do it when I think of it. Rock, electric, ice, flying types have more weaknesses than people know about. Which of those do you think people don't know about? Well, whatever. Here we go. One of the silliest and therefore kind of fun, most kind of fun. That's butchered. I butchered that. One of the silliest gym puzzles in the entire series and therefore kind of fun. Boom. I've been shot out of a cannon 3 times already before I battle the first gym trainer. What do you think about the cannons? Do I need to keep going? I love them. Isn't it great that you can experience how flying Pokemon feel? Next, experience the feeling of losing a Pokemon battle. I don't know if that's how flying Pokemon feel, being rapidly shot forward and then dropping. And maybe crashing into a wall, because, yeah, some of these cannons calibrated a little questionably. I like that Skyla's Black 2, White 2 gym puzzle kind of keeps up the same energy, and that it's also comically dangerous. And involves movement through air. But I like the simplicity of the cannons. They're a lot of fun. Anyway, like I said, we're going to try to spark through the gym trainers where we can, save charge beams for Skyla. Working pretty well so far. Got back some experience earlier, got a magnet to boost the power of that spark. Let's go. This guy was blown away. As much as I've complained about Zebstrika in this video, Zebstrika's really gonna go to work in this gym, I think. It'll be stronger if I fight while thinking about Pokemon. Victory will come my way. I think he said I'll be stronger, not it'll. Not bad. In order to jump higher, I'm practicing really hard. Well, let me tell you, there's some devices in here that can really make you jump high. Go get shot out of a cannon, bro. I can spark through this, no problem, I think. And yeah, Woobat should be easy enough to handle too. Is this going to be like Clay's gym where they all use the same Pokemon as the gym leader, but some of them are unevolved, or are we going to see some other flying types mixed in? There are flying types that they can mix in, but if it's just the Woobat, Ducklet, and Pidove lines, well, that's a consistent choice with what we saw in Elisa's and, no, somebody in Elisa's gym had like a Tynamo or something, didn't they? I can't remember. What we saw in Clay's gym, at least. But then there aren't that many ground types in Unova anyway, are there? Or in Gen 5 anyway, are there? Sandile line, Tympole line, except Tympole itself. Drillbur line. Landorus is legendary, don't count that. What else is a ground type? That might be about it. Maybe they didn't really have choices with Clay. Probably forgetting something. Trainer, do you remember what you were told at the beginning? The cannons go up, down, left, and right. You can enter them from anywhere. How about that? I'm good at imitating him, aren't I? This is one talented dude. He's good at jumping. He's good at impressions. I guess he's still working on getting better at jumping. But, okay, I'm not going to do this right now. I was going to check the Pokedex for other ground types. But yeah, I can't think of any. My bad. You can let me know in the comments what ground type I've forgotten. Don't say Landorus. We're not doing legendaries right now. I became a pilot, which has been my dream since I was a child. I am extremely strong. Bring it on. Gotta love the energy of all these gym trainers. They're all like, I'm good at jumping. I'm extremely powerful. I'm flying high. You will experience the feeling of defeat. There's a real character to this whole gym. Right? It's very in your face. The cannons, the boastful gym trainers. Skylar herself will bring some good energy to the battle, no doubt. It's a lot of fun, and it's a nice contrast with the literally and metaphorically more down-to-earth gym that Clay ran, where again he's the hard-nosed straight talker. Some of his gym trainers are clerks, probably just off the job. They did a really good job this whole generation of giving specific personality to not just the gym leaders, but the whole vibes of their gyms. In hindsight, maybe it's kind of no wonder that some players didn't find the X and Y gyms as interesting. Honestly, I like the X and Y gyms, but I wouldn't say I found them as interesting either. They don't have the same strong identities. I talk about gym puzzles that I like. If you watched my X playthrough, if you haven't, go check it out. If you have, you know the Psychic Gym there is a favorite of mine, but I'm just blown away by the spectacle of it. It's not really exactly the same. Here, I'm blown away by the cannons too, in a couple of different ways. But I like how I'm seeing that they fit the vibe of the gym as I go. And not just in that flying type gym, fly through air, whee! I became a pilot, making the dream of my younger days a reality. The weight is quite comfortable. Surprise, this is the wrong way. I was fooled by it on my first playthrough. It took a bit of time for me to figure out how to progress. That is some nice bait, letting you do that. I guess you can go into the cannon from either side, means if this is exposed, they have to let... Oh, I actually did not mean to do it a second time there. That was an accident. My bad. I guess it's just consistent with what they told me, and I guess if I paid attention to that dialogue on my first playthrough, maybe I would have looked carefully and spotted that there was another way to reach this, but it is kind of hidden at first, right? I was just like, oh, I go this way. I'm not going to accidentally blunder into it again. And only afterward did I see, oh, that little bit of gray there I actually can access. Look at this. Let's go. I can actually go in here, and I can go this way. Boom. Then I have to use this cannon twice to make any progress, because Skylar just really loves having people blasted out of cannons. Her platform is so high up, this cannon doesn't shoot high enough. I'm going to have to find some others. Target lock acquired. I will shoot you down with my flight technique. Alright, this guy's trying a little too hard. I prefer the ones who are like, now you will experience defeat. Unpheasant. Alright. Strong. We're probably not strong enough. Of course, it's protect stalling. They all do this. Not all of them, but too many of them. I went for the double. Why not, I guess. Glad I didn't get it. I believe it's 50% in this generation. I'm not sure when they made the change, but I think not this early. Thankfully, the 50-50 favored me this time. Good experience from that Unpheasant. This guy missed the target. He sure did, in more ways than one. We can depend on a move that hits without fail when it counts. For example, Aerial Ace and Swift are both surefire moves. This guy says this after he went for a double detect and failed, and that was all he did in that battle? Alright, get me out of here. This guy's all over the place. He doesn't know what he's doing. My plans are perfectly honed. I cannot lose. That's more like it. Bring me that bluster. This flying gym blows a lot of hot air, and I love it. Amnesia? Good thing I went for Spark. Might want to consider going for Spark against Skylo's Swoobat, which I think she leads with, if there's a chance she's going to play it like that. Goodbye. Nice crit. What's Skyla's TM? I don't remember. But she'll probably spam whatever it is, right? It's probably a flying type move. This isn't Gen 2. They can get gym leaders' moves of their own types consistently. Anyway, time for the big guns. Here we go. Boom! Through the ring. Big, long, high, arcing shot. Like Kawhi Leonard winning Game 7 of the second round. This one's gonna overdo it. Boom! Straight into the wall. That's gotta hurt. But I'm a silent Pokemon protagonist, so I shrug it off. One more cannon. Boom! Up to Skyla's level. Let's battle. Hee hee! I've been waiting for you. Did you enjoy flying with the help of the Mistralton gym cannons? They're my pride and joy. This time, let's try something else. Alright, she does lead Swoobat. I don't remember what her TM is. I don't know if this will go for Amnesia or some flying type attack that I'm not thinking of right now. It's not Roost, right? Roost is a Gen 4 move. This is also back when they would make the gym leaders... Okay, Spark Crit, nice, we take those. This is back when they would make the gym leaders TM a new generation move consistently. Yeah, for the most part at least. On Pheasant, now we can start setting up charge beams. Might not need it against her Swanna with that double weakness, but... Alright, nice, get the boost, a lot of damage. She'll use a healing item here. She'll use Leer, she'll probably use a Hyper Potion. If I land this charge beam, it'll KO anyway because I got the boost. And we might get through the gym battle with no damage taken whatsoever. No doubt the crit on Swoobat helping with that. But what a comeback for Zebstrika after I was a little bit critical of it earlier in... +2 now. A little bit critical of it earlier in this very episode. The charge beam has definitely helped, and so has just having a massive type advantage over the whole gym. Boostraw wants to learn Memento. This isn't a Nuzlocke anymore, so I'll take that over Imprison. I'm sure there's still a better move to find for that slot, though. Maybe something like Energy Ball or Psychic. I think Energy Ball is a post-game TM, so maybe something like Psychic. Here's the Swanna. Her last Pokemon, but she'll never give up hope. I may yet have a Swanna soon, but I'm not on Skyla's level yet. But I do have +2 charge beam. It connects. That'll be GG. Is Acrobatics her TM? I don't think I have the TM for it yet, do I? Or, no, I think I do. That's how I taught it to my Archon. I missed some of that dialogue. Okay, it goes by so quickly. Can't put pressure on myself to read it all. I can read this, though. You're an amazing Pokemon trainer. My Pokemon and I are happy because for the first time in a while, we could fight with our full strength. This is an official League gym badge. I think it will look good on you. On me? I'm not Ash Ketchum wearing my badges in my vest. I thought it was kind of cool that Ash did that. I don't know why they went to a badge case in the anime, but... Nice little badge design. Fits nicely into the case there. 6 badges, not bad. Wow, hot stuff. Wow, okay. Wow, hot stuff. With that many gym badges, Pokemon up to level 70 will obey you. Also, as thanks for a Pokemon battle that made me very happy, I want you to have this TM. It is Acrobatics. Wait, so my Archon learned Acrobatics naturally? That wasn't a TM? I remember now, it wasn't a TM. That's so broken! Through so much of this part of the game. Archon is ridiculous. I'm glad that's the fossil I picked. That Pokemon's going crazy. And I didn't even have the TM yet, I just learned that by level up. My present to you is Acrobatics. If the user doesn't have a held item, its power doubles. I know! Oh, I know! It's a pretty technical move, oh, I know, but... 110 base power, 100 accuracy? In the early to middle part of the game? On a Pokemon so strong that they gave it one of their silly nerfing abilities? But... Not a truant one that kicks in right away? One that has conditions to kick in? Oh, man. Yeah, we're going to keep winning battles with Moncton for quite a while, I think. I do probably want to move Moncton back to the front of the party, even though it's my highest level Pokemon. since I'm never putting the experience share on it. I want that Archeops. I don't know. It's the Ice Gym next, right? Maybe I should be training Moose Jaw, but that's a question for next episode. By the way, when I flew over Twist Mountain on the way to Osiris City, Team Plasma, is that the name? Anyway, they were heading for the city. What kind of people are they? Skyla is so busy with her 2 jobs, gym leader and cargo pilot, and also just, you know, having fun, and also just jumping in to help Pokemon in need when she sees them at the top of Celestial Tower. She hasn't really kept up with Team Plasma. They're not of interest to her. Makes sense, makes sense. Normally I would save here, but I said I was going to try to remember to talk to that NPC when I had the badge. Boom! The most satisfying cannon of all, although that's gotta hurt. But I'm a silent Pokemon protagonist, so you never know. That doesn't mean I get this interaction with N an episode early, but yeah, I'm going to go talk to that person in that house before I wrap this one up. They may say this for understanding one another better, but when trainers really use Battle Force to compete and hurt each other's Pokemon. Am I the only one who finds this terribly painful? Whatever. I'm going to talk to your Pokemon. I've been living with Pokemon since I was born, so it's easier for me to talk with them than with people. Because Pokemon never tell lies. Hey, Substrika. Would you tell me what kind of trainer Black is? Okay, got it. The Black was born in November Town, lives with Mom, and was given the Pokedex to start off on a journey to see the world. Still, the Substrika trusts you for some reason. That's good. How does that Substrika know all that about me? I guess I've been running into my friends and the professor and stuff. Am I telling my Pokemon my backstory? Even though I'm a silent protagonist, so you'll never see the dialogue. If every person Pokemon cared about one another like you two do, I could watch over the future of people and Pokemon without having to liberate Pokemon from people who just use them. Gets his using Team Plasma to search for some special stones, the Light Stone and the Dark Stone. These stones hold the essence of 2 legendary Pokemon. It is said that when they lost their physical form, they fell into a slumber and were transformed. Now they wait for the hero's arrival. I shall resurrect the legendary Dragon-type Pokemon from one of these stones to become his friend. That will show the world that I am the hero, the new hero. Everyone will follow what I say. My vision is to change the world without using force. Trying to change the world by force will just make others resist. If people resist, then the ones that will be hurt are the innocent Pokemon used by foolish trainers. You understand? Pokemon are just tools for people to use. As a result, Pokemon trainers who care about one another like you and your Pokemon will be separated. And that does break my heart a little. Aha! He's starting to think twice. He's starting to acknowledge that Pokemon trainers can be good and caring. That we can see the hesitation starting to creep in. And it's a nice touch that, to some extent, it comes from talking to my Pokemon, although of course he also tested ideals in battle. Also, he's starting to tip his hand there about the legendary Pokemon, starting to finally tell me exactly what his plan is. He's probably starting to have the idea in his head to set me up as the other hero to challenge his ideals in the ultimate climactic battle, after using our Charged Stone Cave encounter to kind of workshop that idea, see that I'm really worthy. That's why he's starting to open up more about what he wants to do, right? He does specifically say without using Force, which is interesting. I kind of thought part of the idea of using a legendary Pokemon was to have the at least threat of Force against the whole region. I'm sure that is part of Gets's idea. At least that's how I remember the story. Which is kind of coercive in itself, right? Do what you say or else we'll use Force. That's kind of not that different from Force. But N is deep into the symbolism of these things, right? He wants to win the battle against the other hero to prove the legitimacy of his values. And win people over. It's kind of naive. I don't know that it would work, but that's how he envisions things. And that's another way that he's going to have to learn that things aren't as black and white as he thinks, and people have nuanced views, right? Because I don't think that plan would ever work the way he's intending. I don't think Getsus intends it to work that way. But N is starting to question himself. He's not very open about it right now, but the hints are there. And that's important. It's always a good idea to question your views and take other perspectives into account and see what you can learn from other people and how you can update your views to match things that you've learned since you developed them, right? It's always important. You don't want to get stuck and stagnant in the things that you believe at a particular time when you only know so much and have room to grow. You can hold views for a long time that are good and valuable, but it's important to rethink them now and then and make sure that they still track with your understanding of the world. And we're watching N learn that lesson in the course of this game, and it's a good life lesson again for the kids playing this. back when this game came out, or now if you're a kid now starting with Black and White for some reason. Maybe because you've heard about how awesome this generation is. Maybe. I think more likely kids are starting with the more recent games. This is a really sophisticated story for a Pokemon game. I'm not saying it's the height of sophistication, but I really like the Scarlet and Violet story, right? The Scarlet and Violet story, it deals in some heavy subject matter, but mostly it's told through the lens of archetypal children's stories. The kid and his sick dog, the misfit struggling to fit in at school, dealing with bullying, Nimona looking for her place. It all kind of comes together to tell a story that has some real weight to it, but as I'm playing through this story right now, we'll see where they're going with it. It still feels like it's on another level, and it feels like Black and White more than most Pokemon games really have something to say. And again, I'm not saying it's the height of sophistication, but I do think it's something worth saying to the audience, and it's worth taking a second here and there to appreciate it. Wow, a jet badge. You want to get Skyla? Okay, I'll tell you something cool. We left our treasure at the end of the runway. Treasure? That was just about a hidden item somewhere. Which end of the runway? Probably this one, right? Because the gym's at the other end. Was this item here before? Did I just miss it? Aerial Ace TM? I probably just missed it. Kind of underwhelming when acrobatics. Oh, no! I think that interaction... Either that interaction made it appear, or I did just miss it earlier, but then I knew to look. Because, anyway, you found our treasure. Found it! Just kidding. We don't have Pokemon, so we plan to hide this TM until we got one. But that would be a waste, so here, you can use it. Well, knowing this region, they probably have another copy anyway, right? Oh, we'll get another one from Skyla. Okay, that's reasonable. Maybe Bianca's dad knows Skyla. That's where he's getting all those HMs. That he could just spare giving more than one to his daughter. You know, I don't have to rehash. This is the same episode. You can use it. I don't know what that was about. See you. Bye-bye. Alright, bye. Let's go back to their house and see if there's any more dialogue. I'm getting a little loopy here. To be honest, I didn't plan to make one of these today. I was going to do something else, but I was so tilted on Showdown, just thinking about Showdown today, I couldn't do Showdown content. What is the fastest Pokemon in a race? So I just did this instead. 3 hours of this will wear me out a little bit too, though. Please use our technical machine with extra care. Honestly, I'm not sure I'll ever use it. Actually, Krokorok can learn Aerial Ace, can't it? I still have Mud Slap. I might as well teach Aerial Ace. Ash's Crocodile knew Aerial Ace, didn't it? Krokorok can't learn it, though. Maybe Crocodile can. TM compatibility lets me down again in the debut game for reusable TMs. We're going to save. We're going to call it here. This was not my plan for today. But this was a fun little episode. I really enjoyed it. Even if I got a little loopy at some points, it was not necessarily at my most articulate. We got into some key moments of the story here. We explored some really nice, pleasant, pretty routes with some real character to them that you don't always see in more recent games. I didn't have the fondest memories of... I've said before, I didn't have the fondest early playthrough memories of Black and White because I think I was just at the point in my life where I was a little bit more cynical about being a Pokemon fan. You know, as a late teens, early 20s guy, I wasn't in the childhood wonder stage, but I also wasn't in the grown-up, whatever, I like these games, I'll play what I want and enjoy them stage. So Gens 4 and 5 were kind of a low point in terms of my attitude toward the series. Even so, the story of Gen 5 still gripped me, right? I still could tell that it was far better than anything that had come in this series before. And these games definitely aged well with me in hindsight, as I thought back to them as a more relaxed, just enjoying things kind of fan. Thought, oh yeah, actually those were really good. I was harsh on them for no good reason at times. But to come back now and do a deep dive playthrough again, properly explore at this stage in my life, man, I'm starting to see what some other people saw who weren't you know, in the same kind of mindset that I was when I first played these. I'm glad I kept this series going, that's for sure. And we'll be right back next week to do some real exploring around Unova, because I get Surf next episode, and that's going to unlock a lot of areas. Looking forward to it, for sure.